there's a part of me that feels like I kind of got lied to, because at one point I said, I saw John last weekend, and I said, he was like, "Oh, hey,
John Hughes,
John Scott."
oh Scott,
Yeah.
oh sorry,
I still call him John, and it's hard because I can't.
your accent was too good. It sounded like a John to me.
Yeah.
because my Farang ears.
Yeah. No, so I was talking to John this weekend, and he was like, "Hey, so you're gonna be on Leo's podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, aren't you gonna be there with me?" And he was like, "No, he didn't invite me." And I said, so I was thinking back to like the messages that you sent me, and I was like, "Dude, he said that I was supposed to be like a third mic, like I was gonna be like, it was gonna be you, me, and Leo." Like, he was like, "No, I don't think it's that." And so I was just like, it was one of those things where I had to kind of mentally prepare for it, because by having a John here, it makes it easier for me to kind of like, whenever he's around, I'm like, straight up, I'm the straight guy, kind of like, the,
As opposed to the gay guy. That's the exact opposite with me. Whenever he's around, I turn into the gay guy. Whatever you want there, whatever you want, Scott. Just please don't. Just God.
No, definitely. It's funny because like, we're like the odd couple, right? If we're talking about good cop, bad cop, you definitely know who good cop is, and you know who bad cop is, right?
Yeah. Obviously, I would say he's more the deranged cop. He's not good or bad. He can't help it.
His words, not mine.
See,
I'm just pointing that out right now because I don't need to be blamed for anything.
I know, and you're the one who has to
still spar him, dude.
I was about to say, you're the one who has to go back to the academy.
I still spar him. I still have to pay for stuff. Like that's.
Does he still do Elvis leg?
He does. He does, and it's just it's the hardest thing to get past. That
it's a dirty, nasty move.
It is, but it's one of those things where it's just like his timing reads are so good, and once he understands your style and has a beat on your timing, it's one of those things that you are gonna have to do some real creative stuff to get past it, or else you're just in for a freaking brawl.
Yeah,
right?
and he explained this on his.
I was watching that.
Yeah, with the Muay Thai Masters episode where he's talking about. Sean was outing him, saying, "Yeah, that's your style. Your style is the kind of walk in and just take punishment, but dish out even worse punishment."
If I remember correctly, I think it's called Muay Mat, which is like the heavy punching, forward aggressive style with like heavy clinching. There's a couple of different styles that they name in Muay Thai, but like. Muay Fimu is the smoother Sanchai, very evasive, very dynamic movement, lots of fast kicks kind of deal. And then you have guys like Yotsun Klai from Fairtex, who's just like a juggernaut, marches forward. You know that left leg is coming. You know that left kick is coming. You can do nothing to stop it.
Okay, one thing that always kind of confused me with you is that you're Filipino.
Yes, sir.
Like, proudly Filipino guy,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
But how many times do you get, because you know the lingo and everything, and you're like a Southeast Asian guy, so how do you get, you probably, they go, "Oh yeah, he's Thai," all the time.
I've gotten Thai a lot. One, because just because of the way that I look. Southeast Asians are tanner and just darker by nature.
Y'all look Chinese to me. Don't you hate that? Freaking!
I have been called every single Asian name.
How annoying is that? That's got to be annoying.
Growing up, it was kind of just one of those things where you got to remember I'm an immigrant too. Like I came here when
you're fresh off the boat.
Not fresh off the boat, but I came here like a little under 30 years ago. I'm sorry. Yeah, a little under 30 years.
Oh, my bad. No, you're first generation.
I'm first generation.
But not FOB.
Not FOB.
Okay, I got you. So there's no accent or anything?
Yeah, I lost it when I was 9, turning to, I came here in 1987. We landed in Dulles Airport.
Gangster, really?
Yeah.
Right here. Like you literally landed here.
Yep.
And there you were like, "This is good."
Yeah, it was.
Your family was like, "This is a great place."
Yeah, August 21st, 1987. I still remember the date. It was
wow.
it was amazing. And but unfortunately, when we were flying in, we flew in at night, right? So we were landing in Dulles Airport in the evening, so I couldn't really see anything. And we got in the car. My uncle and his family came and picked us up, and we were gonna live with them for a little while in what's that area? Great Falls.
Oh my gosh, what does he do? Holy crap! That was back in the day, though. Great Falls might have been more rural back then.
It was a little bit more rural. I mean, not,
not farms or anything, but,
not farms,
but maybe it was a little less city like.
Yes, absolutely.
And everybody that works in the Capitol Hill lives there.
Yeah,
that whole night.
It was a little bit less diversity. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I see that. I'm from this area too, and I grew up in Alexandria, but moved to Centerville in '88.
Oh, okay.
So
and
very similar.
28 was just a two-lane road.
Two-lane road.
Yeah.
Lots of like land, just land.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh my gosh, buildings everywhere. People, they will not stop bringing people here.
Right.
No offense. Okay. I was okay with the immigration when you did it, but now it's like, really, where are we going to put people?
Yeah. There's
nowhere to put people. Pretty soon we're going to have skyscrapers in this piece, man.
Hey, you know what? And sometimes that's what it takes. And I have zero solutions when it comes to like population crises or like immigration laws or anything like that.
There was a guy I learned about in history class that had a solution. He called it the final solution, but it wasn't that good of an idea. Okay. It was kind of mean.
That sounds crazy. Oh, Sean Michael Ahern is watching.
Why is this guy the guy? Sean, you're the man.
Sean is the absolute man.
Everybody that I have on here.
And hey, Rosie.
Everybody that I have on here that has anything to do with the fight world is like, oh, man, no, hell no, it's Sean. Yeah, what's going on, Sean? I'm like,
sorry. You got to understand.
Is this guy a celebrity I just don't know about yet?
Sean's one of those undiscovered gems, I think, at this point. Like,
okay, what would you liken him to? Like, as far as because I know he's a fighter.
Yeah.
So what kind of fighter, like, if you had to say his style or his bearing or whatever would be like who right now in the UFC?
In the UFC... tough call. He's definitely more of a striker, but right now he's still in those beginning stages, right, where he's trying to find his style and he's trying to understand where his body moves the best and where he, how to place things and timing reads and things like that. The thing that I've noticed about Sean that he's improved over time is just that he's gotten a lot better at relaxing. When you get put in that, that's one of the hardest things to get over is when you get put in that situation.
I still don't think I'm over it. Like, especially if I'm in a situation, not that I fight now, but
sure.
I can imagine if I were to go into a fight, get ready for one, and I'm in the fight, I feel like, especially if I'm losing, being able to relax was always the hardest thing. I become an instant headhunter.
Yeah, it really, but now Sean... What's funny is that one of his first fight that I helped corner him at, it was me and Pablo that were his cornermen for this smoker out in Maryland.
Who's Pablo?
Pablo Garcia.
Yeah, I've seen him. What's his story?
So Pablo is one of those guys. He's a Loudoun County native, moved to Hawaii for a little bit, adapted that whole island boy Hawaii lifestyle, and then came back here. Yeah. And while he was in Hawaii, I hope I'm not outing out too much about you, Pablo, but so when he was out in Hawaii, he was training with BJ Penn's former striking coach. Can't remember the gentleman's name right now.
Oh God, me neither. Okay,
but you know who I'm talking about, right?
This is why Eric needs to be here. He's not. Oh, by the way, Eric's not here, everybody, for Rap 35, so we can shame him on Rap 36 and give him the grill him. But okay, so.
Sorry,
so BJ Penn's
former striking coach.
Striking coach, okay.
And so he came back. He came out here, and it was at a time when we were at the old facility for Disciple MMA, right? The first location where we opened up off of Marie's Drive in Sterling, and we were running a promo on, I don't know if it was Groupon or one of those sites.
It was Groupon.
It was Groupon.
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, so we were running the ads on Groupon, and one guy came in because of the Groupon, and I was the one there that was like kind of just like, I'll hold pads for you, we can go through warm-ups, stuff like that. And then after one guy left, here comes Pablo walking into the facility, and I was like, hey, what brought you here? And he was like, I just did a Google search on MMA schools in Sterling, and you guys came up, so I wanted to come by and see what you guys were like. So I was like, all right, cool, well, we're kind of running a promo. Why don't we do some pads and, let's see where you're at? Because he was telling me how he trained before in Hawaii, right? So I was like, all right,
cool. Did he name drop?
Oh, no, he didn't.
By the way, I'm sorry. For those of you guys listening for the first time, this is my style, okay? We're going to get back to Sean Ahern, okay? But I need to know, like, the backstory. I'm a backstory guy, all right? So, sorry, continue. So he comes in.
So he comes in and he just,
And he explains that he's from
Hawaii. He said, I just came back from Hawaii. And I was like, and he said, I was training in MMA out there. And I was like, well, who did you train? Did you train with, were you in Hilo? And he was like, no, but I trained with Rudy Valentino.
Oh, there you
Coach
go.
Rudy.
Beautiful.
Coach Rudy.
What a great name, by the way.
Yeah. So he was telling me how to train with Coach Rudy. So I was like, all right, so he's going to know, he should know what he's doing. And he,
don't tell me he was garbage.
He's not. It wasn't that Pablo was garbage, but he was just. He was very. Again, he had a stiffer style. Like he was having trouble relaxing.
He was Muay Thai?
Not necessarily, but he just didn't. He's very Western. He's very Western in his stance. He had a very sideways stance. He didn't turn his hips towards me, kind of deal. So It was less Muay Thai, more boxing.
Right.
So his kicks were not great.
Right.
And I'm sorry, Pablo, but they really weren't. You got to admit
Righteous Anger Podcast, you just might get angry. I don't know. It might happen.
No, but so we worked on his stand up, and I was like, well, if you want to come back, feel free to come back, man. And he just kept coming back, and that's how we got Pablo. And then over time, Pablo just had this huge upswing where all of a sudden, like you couldn't teach him enough. You couldn't drill him enough.
And he was coming in the gym a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah, he was coming in as much as he possibly can. And we had like so many fighters that were training at the gym at the time. And these guys were trying to train like 7 days a week, and trying to put in like 2 a days, most days. They just wanted to get.
And poor Paul had to be there. Like, you want to train today? Seriously, dude? I get 1 day off, and then you want to train? Really?
Not all the time, because I do have my day job. So I was like, well, if you guys are training during the day, I can't be involved.
But you need to quit with that day job stuff. By the way, you need to quit with that day. I hear too many good things about you that I feel like you would fit in somewhere else. We'll talk about that in a second. So he was helping Sean.
Yeah.
Sean's the diamond in the rough.
Yes.
And
so we're sitting there and we're in the corner. We went over the game plan. We were like, nice and steady, stay relaxed, hands high.
Right.
Pick your strikes, just go about it, rhythmically, like the way that you do when you spar, And he was like, got a crew. Goes in the ring, hands down by his waist. He's swinging. Just cranking away at this dude. Now, mind you, he was getting to the guy, right? Like he was really putting it on this dude. And there's a part of you that's like, as a cornerman and as a coach, you're kind of like, all right, cool. He's doing damage. He's moving forward. There are some positives. The big glaring negatives was if he got caught, he was going to get caught in a big way because his hands were so low.
He was so vulnerable.
Yeah, he was just so vulnerable.
Right.
But then, like, and then the thing that you want to look for at, I know John, Scott, and I, we kind of diverge on certain things that we look for in our fighters. One of the things that, key principles that I really look for is the ability to listen to your corner and be able to hear them.
Right.
So that's a different that's a skill set. Being able to hear your cornerman out of a crowd, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. John wants mindset.
Just go in there, and even if you can't hear, you're still
you're still fighting, right?
And that's good. That's good to have kind of both, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's why we work so well together. Is that he's able to provide that mentality and mindset. And I just apply my logical and, analytical brain to it and look at the skills that the person has and says, okay, they're good here, here, and here. So we can train less on that and let's improve the other deficient skills and let's see if we can get those to improve so that we, just keep adding weapons to the toolbox, right?
We actually have some audio of one of his fights. We actually got audio of his opponent, one of Sean's opponents. Let me play this real quick.
What's up, Dwayne?
No. All right, let me give a shout out to Dwayne Ball real quick.
Yes,
Dwayne Ball is a super user, I guess, in the tech jargon, or I would say a super fan of the show.
Yes.
Dwayne has done what we've asked of him and of all the people that watch the show. He's subscribed, he's liked, and he's shared. Yep. That's all we ask, guys. Yeah. Get on there.
Please subscribe to this podcast.
Subscribe to the podcast. It's only getting bigger. We're getting better guests. every day. We've got freaking Crew Paul here. By the way, Crew Paul, the man, the myth, the legend. That's on there. And then Dwayne says, even on podcast, Crew Paul is the sharpest dressed man in Muay Thai.
No way.
I would definitely say Muay Thai. I might even say in the fight world. Now,
God, please stop.
I'm saying because
we're getting into really uncomfortable territory.
Paul is what? Oh, you haven't even. Just wait, Paul. You've been watching the podcast, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen how most people dress when they come on this podcast?
I have.
And you just made this decision, like, you know what? I need to bring it up a little bit, man. The quality is way too low.
So there's a couple of different responses I can give to that. So one of my immediate responses is always, I dress the way that I do because I have low self-esteem.
What?
So I have to dress up nice to like make me feel better about myself. The whole if you look good, you feel good kind of deal. But at the end of the day, my wardrobe choices is just something that I came into probably in 2015, where I made a decision. I was like, you know what? I need to start dressing nicer, and I'd like to really get into the whole, gentleman's fashion, men's fashion kind of. So what a proper gentleman looks like.
So would you say that you are now a metrosexual?
I've been accused of that way too many times. So you know what? I don't mind owning that title, and that's cool. I don't mind it at all.
Dude, I'm with you, man. I go to New Life, which is my church, right?
Yes.
Which is at the End Zone. I go there every Sunday. My standard issue dress for church is sweats that I've probably been wearing since Saturday. My hoodie, and it's either a military baseball hat like what I'm wearing right now, or like my Raiders cap, right?
Right.
And then one day they were doing some voiceover for something. They wanted my voice for something. I go in there, dressed because I was coming off of doing some meetings and stuff. I was dressed like you, nice, and they didn't recognize me. and let me tell you something. I'm kind of recognizable, I would say. Not a lot of people look like me.
Yeah.
And they were like, Leo, is that you? and the saddest part was it was a total letdown the very next Sunday.
Yeah.
Because it was like back to sweats and stains and things, and like, oh man, we thought that was gonna take. Oh well. All right, let me give you this hookah.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the hookah. Make sure you use your mouth condom. You don't know what I have.
Yep.
Here you go. That's for
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And I am going to go ahead and officially start the show because I haven't even done that.
Okay.
This is Righteous Anger Podcast number 35, which is a lovely number. Are you 35?
I'm 40.
God. Jeez, man. God, this guy looks so freaking good.
Y'all need to stop.
We're gonna talk. This is 35 with Paul Sitcharing. He is, among other things, he's a crew Muay Thai. He's a very sought after cornerman. He's well respected in the game. He's what they call what do they call you? A smiling assassin, I guess.
It used to be. I was gonna be a kung fu panda at one point.
But then you started losing weight and trimming down and getting all in fight shape, and it's like that doesn't work anymore.
Stick as much.
So he's one of the kindest guys that I think I've ever met.
I appreciate that.
But also he will hand you your ass pretty easily. So which is a good dichotomy, I think. We're gonna get into the relationship stuff because most women that I know would basically snatch you up immediately, but we'll talk about that. I told you it's going to get a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is.
So the cool news is that among some of the other things that obviously all the show stuff is sponsored by vicarstudios.com. That's VICAR studios.com. We also have become an affiliate for On It. Are you familiar with On It?
Yes, I am.
You like On It? Cool. Have you done any of that stuff?
You know what? I've never had a chance to try any of their stuff.
Okay, so I'll have to hook you up. So the three, they have a lot of stuff. They have everything from fight wear training wear, not just fighting, but working out and stuff.
Yeah.
They have equipment that they sell. But the thing that I like the most, there's three things. I think do I have a third thing here?
Yeah, you do. Right.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep.
So there's three things that I like that I get on a regular basis: New Mood, Shroom Tech Sport, and Alpha Brain. Which Alpha Brain's the thing I use every day. Paul and I were talking before the show. We both suffer from a horrible disease called well, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I might actually be ADD because I'm not that hyperactive, but I'm definitely one of those attention deficit guys. This has actually helped me learn how to code. So I can actually code. Yeah, like I could. It took me years. I tried to learn coding, and then finally I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast. He was talking about alpha. Oh, you might want to blow the smoke out a little bit, just a little bit. Don't blow on it like a horn. Yeah. We've actually had the thing pop across the studio. But Alpha Brain is for those people who need focus and memory. It does a great job. I can definitely say this stuff worked best for me. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to hit the bell. New Mood is serotonin levels. Your serotonin levels off. Daily stress formula. You're going through some shiznit. New Mood's not a bad thing. I've noticed that with New Mood, I tried it for like a month, just a month straight, and then after a while, you don't really feel the effect. So now I use New Mood sort of like if I need it.
Right.
So it works in that way. And then finally, Shroom Tech Sport. I really don't work out that hard, but when I do, it's usually with kettlebells. I know, I'm sure you've worked with kettlebells.
Yeah, Rogan's huge on those.
Kettlebells are insane because I never did like just the straight running, and I never did like just the straight lifting weights, and it's a nice happy medium. So I got into kettlebells, which is that it takes you from the anaerobic zone to the aerobic zone, and it completely kills you. Kettlebells are awesome for just killing you. Immediately.
Absolutely.
But also there's the strength aspect too, and I think anybody that's in the fight game should definitely be doing something along those lines.
Yes. You need to talk to the folks at Beyond Strength Performance, right next to Disciple MMA.
I know them. They're BSP.
Yep. John Hughes basically is one of the trainers there. Yeah. So they do some amazing workouts with regular free weights, kettlebells, you name it. They can make it a really good part of. One thing that's amazing about them is that they really try to work for applicable strength. Yeah. So
because they train with so many athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
but they also train with non-athletes. I saw what they did with a lot of these. Like I've seen, not just people that ride desks for a living.
Yeah.
And taken them from being, what a person that looks like that rides a desk.
Yeah.
To being freaking, you got muscles. Yeah. You got a 6-pack. Holy cow! Yeah. What's going on there?
And one of the coolest concepts that they always were a big proponent of was functional movement, and I think that was that really sets them apart from a lot of different gyms. Even for us, from a combative standpoint, it doesn't matter if I can bench 320.
Yeah.
If I don't know how to apply that kind of strength, then it's just useless.
Yeah, exactly.
And how many big dudes, how many buff dudes have you seen get their butt whooped on the street?
All the time.
People that know how to fight.
All the time. Their day is completely over. Their day was over, I think, after you started seeing like real athleticism in UFC. That's when people started realizing, wait a minute, if I just learned some jiu-jitsu and some Muay Thai, these guys don't matter anymore. they're the scary bear, the bear with no claws and no teeth.
Exactly.
So Shroom Tech Sport on it has this thing. Basically, it's they call it Shroom Tech. There's no. It's made from shrooms, cordyceps mushrooms. It's not gonna,
it's not a psychotropic.
Yeah, some people were like, oh, am I gonna have like weird visions? And no, you're not gonna have weird visions. That's something completely different. Shroom Tech Sport is something that you take it before you work out, and it kind of works a lot like. What's that stuff guys were taking?
Ephedrine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so. The ephedra stuff, but there was a specific thing that guys were taking like crazy, and it was like like Rip Fuel, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
They were taking Rip Fuel. It kind of has that effect, like you feel, because what you're doing is you're opening up a lot more oxygen in your blood. So
okay.
So that's what that's for. And me getting back into training, hopefully soon, I'll be using a lot more of that. But please, another way to support the show, I need you guys, if you want to try this stuff out, it's a 30-day free trial for any one of these things or all three. Go to righteousangerpodcast.com, the website, go to the bottom, and we actually have links that you guys can click from those links, and then the show will obviously get a little bit of money from that, which we can always use. I'd like to get out of this tiny studio. I'm just saying. And
it's intimate.
It is. I might keep it just for the lady. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. No, I'm married. I'm happily married. Tanya, if you're listening, I'm kidding. But use the coupon code get on it, GETONNIT, and get yourself some % off on that purchase. If you don't like it, make sure that you send the bottle back within 30 days. You get your full refund. So you can't hurt. Just try it out. Okay. Definitely. That's it for that. Let's go ahead and get back on the show. Yes. Jimmy Lang. Are you familiar with Jimmy Lang?
Absolutely.
Jimmy Lang says, I'm trying to learn as much as I can about MMA. He's going to be on the show a lot more.
Very cool.
And we're
dude. I met him. I've only met him a handful of times, but he's always been extremely, extremely nice to me and always been very respectful. So I love people that
he hasn't been respectful to me, but that's because, I haven't been that respectful to him. So, but you're right. He is a good dude, man. I love Jimmy. He says that Crew Paul helps. Thanks. Yeah. Great show. So Jimmy, I think
you had him on the show recently, right?
Yeah, we had him 2 shows ago. He is. I would really like to see him get into the MMA world as a striking coach.
Yeah.
Because the guy's got 47, 48 fights professionally boxing. Over 30 years of boxing.
Yeah.
There's so much you can learn. You were talking about Pablo coming from a boxing background. And it's like, yeah, in MMA, you don't just want to be a boxer,
right?
But you still want all the awesome things that they do in boxing.
Absolutely. I know a lot of fighters that want to stick to one style or another, and that's cool. I can respect that if you want to make that your thing. But for me personally, like I've always believed that it's that Bruce Lee mentality: take what works, discard what doesn't. And if you're talking about kicking prowess, there's not many arts out there that are gonna go up against Muay Thai like that.
No.
And you have and believe me, I believe in the traditional martial arts myself. I'm a 2nd degree black belt in Taekwondo. My background spans across all different types of traditional martial arts. And my whole thing was coming up as a kid. You grew up on kung fu movies.
Oh heck yeah! Thank you. See, that's why I love having guys that are my age. Like I'm gonna have trouble when I start having young dudes on here, young ladies on here that don't get it. But back in the day, we had in the 80s and 90s, we had the best martial arts movies and stuff. 70s really is where it kind of started.
70s is where it started, but like to me, best of the best one. Oh,
come on, dude! That movie. And it was a Taekwondo movie. Yeah. That's the only X mark I ever had on it. It was like, this is an awesome movie, but it's Taekwondo. Because I was one of the guys that crapped on Taekwondo. Because I was like, no, man, Shaolin Kung Fu. That's where it's at. Do you remember that? Yeah. You remember when people used to, the message boards back in the day for martial arts?
Back then it was a question of style versus style.
And no proof.
And no proof whatsoever. And then, of course, the Gracie family comes around and was like, yeah, we're gonna put you on blast, and you're gonna have to prove it.
which back then, Hoist was like, everyone was scared of Hoist at some point, and then you realize, wait a minute, he's not even the best one.
Yeah, he wasn't even the scariest.
There's a guy named Hickson out there. Yeah. There's a Hickson out there in Japan that's even worse.
Yeah, you either equated Hickson to God or the devil.
Yeah, or both at the
at the same time.
Like, do you pray to him or not? Yeah. That's the point. So yeah, there was that was a great time though. I'm happy I came from that. I still have all my VHS tapes of like old kung fu movies, I remember when Jackie Chan started doing stuff in America with what was the
Benny the Jet Urquidez?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Benny, but what was that movie? Oh, Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh yeah. Okay.
When I watched Rumble in the Bronx, you better believe I was jumping up ladder, hurting myself, just trying to be like that.
Yeah, running up to corners and buildings and just trying to bounce off. And
I was in a fight, man. Yeah, I was in a fight. It wasn't really a fight. It was this kid that was like roasting me, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I did this kick. I was heavy into martial arts, young guy. I think I was probably about maybe like 12 or 13. And we were nose to nose, and he was roasting me, man. Like I had no chops back then. No
comebacks,
no comebacks, no word defense whatsoever. So I took the low road and I did this kick, right? Where I'm standing there and I do like it was a roundhouse kick, but my body barely moved. My leg just flew up. Yeah. Flew up and hit him on the side of the head, but it was controlled. So it just basically like kind of tapped him.
Yeah.
And then the look on his eyes was like, and back then, if you told somebody you did karate, no one effed with you.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. 6th grade.
Hookah rules. I'm a Bogarter. Mm-hmm. I will smoke it until somebody tells me to stop.
Yes,
so when you want it, you got to tell me. Okay.
Okay. No worries. So like for me, like 6th grade, 12 years old, you know, I'm already not a big dude, right? So I was even smaller than short little Asian kid, and you know, got picked on, got bullied a lot, and I mean a lot. You know, not in the same way that bullying happens now. It was just different back then. It was. Just,
Are you talking about when you guys came over here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was 2 years in, actually first year in, like in 5th grade, right? And even in 5th grade, I was getting picked on. 6th grade, I was getting picked on by all kinds of people, and then like. 6th grade, after 6th grade, I was like, I gotta learn how to defend myself. And, you know, my sister, who actually shared my status that this podcast was happening. Love you.
What's her name? Shout out.
Rochelle.
Ooh.
Rochelle McKenzie. She's married.
Okay, I was like, man, that's a hell of a name. Does she look like she's Filipino at least?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So she's tricking a lot of people. Okay.
Yeah, she is.
Got it.
So, you know, my sister had been taking martial arts for a while, and she was a blue belt. Now you're gonna love this. My martial arts lineage actually stretches back to, I don't know if you remember him, Mike Hess and the Aikido martial arts system.
I do.
Okay, so
big in this area.
Yeah, I got my start with Master Mike Hess. You know, I started training with him, and the funny thing was, you know, Mike was never. How do I put it? He just didn't care. Like, you know, he taught you the stuff and you applied it and you were aggressive about it, and that was it. You fought that. Again, it was that hard-nosed.
So karate. So in karate terms, remember Karate Kid?
Yeah.
So he was Cobra Kai instructor.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Sweep the leg, Johnny. Sweep the leg, Paul.
Yo, we were doing like basically Kyokushin style sparring.
Oh my god!
Right, so we're talking like mouthpiece, cup, no gear, right? And that was it.
And full on blasting each other,
and you know,
they call it knockdown karate too, right?
I think so. Yeah. I've heard it called that before. Mm-hmm. So we were doing like you know Kyokushin style sparring where we're like chopping each other's legs up, like we're throwing leg kicks and we're throwing like body shots, like there was no tomorrow. And you know, as a kid, you just when you learn it that young and you're exposed to it at that age, and the mentality, the funny thing was, again, mentality, how important mentality is, like, you know, in combatives. Back then, they just didn't care that I was a 12, 13-year-old kid. They were just going to whoop on me, and they were going to see if I was going to come back.
Were you worth the time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Were you worth the time? Were you worth the effort? And, you know, I just kept coming back. So I did that for several years, and then for a time, it got to the point where I was like, you know, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And then my friends started getting into the whole like tricking, you know, like the aerial acrobatics and all that stuff, all the, you know, fancy
flipping around 30 times in the air and kicking and stuff,
all the spinning stuff, right? And you know, I got way into that, and I actually started competing.
Were you a b-boy too?
I was not a b-boy, but I definitely competed in like the forms divisions in like most national tournaments that would happen like locally.
Mm-hmm. Weapons and all that too.
Yep. I'm good with eskrima arnis sticks, kamas, and not so much bow staff. Not a bow staff.
What about nunchaku?
Oh, right, double. I can do double nunchucks.
All right, guys, I'm gonna bring out the padded nunchucks at the end of the show. He's gonna do a little something.
Right on.
You still got it?
Absolutely. I can still do a little bit of it. You know, flipping them around in my hands and stuff, and like all the flips and stuff, whatever. But you know, I got into that, and I was competing in that for a while. And at one point, there was this major national tournament called the U.S. Capitol Classics. Right?
Yes, I know that one. Yes.
Okay, sweet. Because it was Master Denny Brown, wushu,
that's right,
kung fu background.
That's right.
So,
by the way, black dudes were awesome back in the day. Black dudes were like, if you went to a guy. Okay, no offense to every. I'm gonna hit the bell just because I know somebody's gonna be an idiot out there. But in my opinion, you go to a black dude school of martial arts. That was man, they love martial arts, and they'll learn every little bit about it, and they would train you hard. I love black guy schools. I'm just saying. All right.
So, I was competing at the U.S. Capitol Classics. I think this was in like 1998. This is how, 20 years ago. 1998, U.S. Capitol Classics. The television show Saban's Power Rangers used to send talent scouts to all these national tournaments to see if they can find new talent for whether you're going to be in costume talent or acting talent or whatever. I was competing in the forms division. I placed, I think, fourth or fifth. But one of the talent scouts approached me and he was like, "Hey, we're having this tournament in New York to kind of like audition for the Power Ranger show. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd be interested." Got the info, and like I remember going to my parents about it, and I was like, I'm sorry, it couldn't have been 90. Was it 98? No, I'm sorry, it was 95.
I was about to say 95 was a good year for it too, actually.
95 because I was 17. I was 17 at the time.
So not quite 18. Can't make that decision yet.
Yeah. So I went to my parents and I was like, "Hey, I have my own car, and I asked my parents, I was like, "Can I go?" And they were like, "Yeah, 17-year-old kid, New York City, we're not going to be able to supervise you. That's probably not a good idea."
Instant coke habit. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And, I understood, and I wasn't mad at them for not letting me go. But at the same time, I was kind of like, now I'm like, yeah, that could have been my 15 minutes of fame.
Have you ever told anybody else at the gym about this story?
I think I have. I know I've mentioned it.
And they don't call you. They don't call you the Brown Ranger.
No, they call me the. Oh, that's right, John. All right, so John, I told the story to John, and guess what Ranger he thought I was?
The Pink Ranger?
No, the yellow one.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, wait. Yeah, thank you for hitting. I was about to hit that.
Sorry, John. Had to blow your spot up a little bit.
He loves Asians. It's okay. Yellow Ranger.
But and it's a good laugh. But it was just one of those things. But so after it was probably like around 98, 99, I got out of martial arts and it was at that point though, it was part of my blood. Like it was in my DNA. Like it was just one of those things that no matter what happened, that was going to be something that I was going to be doing. Right. And, even when, even if I went to go lift at I used to go to Olympus.
Yeah. Right down the street.
Right down the street.
Yep.
And I would go into the back rooms and I would practice jump kicks, or I would just drill kicks.
Okay. Let me pause you there.
Yeah.
So when I was in the military, same thing. I was dyed in the wool martial arts guy.
Yeah.
To the point where, and I used to get made fun of like crazy by jocks and stuff.
Sure.
"Oh, you're gonna do that martial arts shit? You're gonna do that martial arts, huh? And I remember it was almost like I became defiant with it. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it in front of everybody. So I didn't care where I did it.
Yeah.
And I was the weirdo. There was a pickup game of basketball happening inside the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm in the corner practicing roundhouse kicks.
Yep.
Back spinning, and all this stuff. And I don't know. Did you get cool points for that, or were you ever made fun of for that?
I honestly didn't pay attention because it was just something that I knew I was going to do.
So where's your low self-esteem come from that you said you had?
I mean, that's just silly stuff when it comes to my appearance and stuff. And Anthony Cordero is my man, always got the fresh suit on. Love Anthony Cordero, by the way.
I love him too.
Yeah, he is an awesome.
I love him too. That's the scariest guy. I think that's the scariest looking nice guy I know.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe him.
He's a really nice guy, but if you just see him anywhere, he could be wearing a suit.
Yeah.
You'd still be kind
of on edge.
Yeah, he got the cauliflower ear and the tattoos.
Dude, I remember telling him one time, one of the first times I met him, I was like, "Dude, how much grappling do you do? Your ear is gnarly."
It's gnarly. and he was I wouldn't say he wasn't mean or anything, but he was in the gym. That guy was so standoff. He was the guy that you didn't, or at least I didn't. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I'm he looked at me and oh, twerp.
Yeah.
But you know, like when I said, you know, oh, hey man, what's going on in the beginning, he was like, okay, all right, I got to go back to the back.
Yeah.
All right.
He's definitely got that, you know, that
focused.
That focused look on him, and especially when he's training, you know, he's gotten a little bit more lighthearted in recent history, but you know, for the most part, you know, Anthony could train. Like, you know, when Anthony is on, he is a scary individual.
I honestly, I liked having him in the gym.
Yeah.
But I was always like, man, I hope I don't have to ever like spar with this guy. Like I didn't want to spar with him.
Yeah.
Because I seen his fights. Like I remember being
watch your liver, watch your jaw.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I saw him drop one guy in I forget which promotion it was. I saw him drop a guy. I thought the guy died. I thought he was dead.
That was Manassas. And that was
nasty.
Not Operation Octagon, but what are they now? I can't remember. God.
It was Operation Octagon back then, right?
Yeah, it was Operation. I think it was Operation Octagon back then still. But yeah, I remember that. Anthony was just he was just on that night. Like he knew what shots he could throw. He knew his range. He was, you know, it's that thing that when you feel like you're in the zone, everything goes in slow mo, and you can almost see somebody like with a laser pointer going, hit him here, and hit him with your right hand.
Is he a guy that listens to his corner?
Or Anthony will listen to his corner. Now, I remember when you had him on the show, it was funny because he was telling the story about this one Operation Octagon show that he fought on. This is at the Dulles Sportsplex. The guy that he was fighting, he first round, they go in there, they're going at it, they hit the ground, and you know, Anthony's trying, you know, he's trying everything he can, and then when the round ends, something happened where him and his opponent were kind of got in each other's face. And I'm already in the cage, right? So I was like, and at this point, I was like, Anthony, get over here and sit down. Get over here and sit down. He wouldn't come over. So I had to go into the middle of the ring, grab him by the arm. And I was like, and it, you know, they always tell us in the back when they're doing like the cornerman's meetings and whatnot, what the rules are, etc. They always try to tell you not to curse because you'll get in trouble with the commission for that.
Right.
But I was like, get the fuck over here and go sit your ass down in that stool. And he just looked at me like,
yeah, because you don't curse usually.
Yeah, he was like, you're cursing? I was like,
yeah,
just sit down, man. You're gonna get a chance to whoop his ass like right now. Like, we only have like 30 seconds.
Can you wait?
Yeah, can you please wait? Oh, that's right. He got a cheap shot and it cut him on the back of the head. He got cut on the back of the head. An
elbow?
It might have been an elbow. And it was almost like an illegal elbow. So, like, you know, I understand he was pissed, but I was like, man, we only have a minute in between rounds.
He took it to the street, man. That was survival mode at that point.
It was, and it was hilarious because I was just like, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, man, I never want to, I hate losing my cool like that. But, like, you know.
Anthony's got, he's got sharks. He's, black eyes, like a doll's eyes. Just scary. It's just one of those shark's eyes that turn over. Yeah, and you're like,
he went into predator mode. That's not good.
I did not want to fight that dude.
But like, you know, so then after that, I was like, you know, I was like, look, pump your jab in front of his face. You're gonna get him with the overhand right. And I was like, you know, you just back him up against the cage. He can't do anything if he's in your range. His range is long. Because this dude was like a lot taller than him. So I was like, you know, just make sure you stay in his face and you'll get him. And he went in there and he started pumping his jab, started backing the dude up, got him against the cage, and then here it comes, like Anthony, like double jabs, kind of takes a step back and wham, just killed him. The dude like collapsed.
He killed him.
Yeah.
No. For everybody, look from where I was sitting, that guy was dead.
Well, now you're talking about the Manassas fight. I'm talking about a different fight.
So he regularly kills people. he's a hitman.
People started to realize that Anthony had this monstrous overhand right because the way that, and it was funny too. I still remember to this day the first time that that Anthony and I started working that. We were still at Mace over, you know, again in Sterling, and you know, I was watching how Anthony moved, and I was asking him to throw like different punches, and I'm holding pads for him, and I was like, "Hey, man, why don't you try throwing like this tight looping overhand right?" And he was like, "Like this," and I was like, "Yeah, just turn your shoulder over and just crank it over." And I held the pad out, and he was like, "Wham!" And the pop from that contact was just like, I was like, "Yeah, that's yours."
That's it.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the move.
And he was like, so we started building his combinations around that. We started trying to see how we can set up his right hand from his kicks, from jabs, you know, things like that, where he can be most effective with throwing that. And, you know, Anthony just started absorbing it like a sponge.
See, and you know, that's what kind of okay, so I taught Muay Thai.
You taught me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
I taught Muay Thai, but where my Muay Thai training kind of was, is the form correct? Yeah. Am I getting like, I was like a big picture guy. Is the overall technique correct?
Yeah.
But what separates a guy like you from a guy like me, right? Like, I don't think I could ever be the trainer guy, because what you just said there, you saw exactly what the move was according to the fighter. This is like that analytical thing that you were talking about earlier, right, where I would be like, okay, yeah, that's a great overhand, but do this. No, we gotta get your kick back up. Yeah. And I'd be worried about everything. Yeah. And you're like, what's the thing that's going to win the fight?
Yeah. And from an analytical perspective, that was the one thing that we wanted to make sure we highlighted on Anthony, because it was something that he was going to do very well.
Right.
But we can't ignore the other skills that he needs to improve. One of them being his kicks. And Anthony I'm going to call you out on this, Anthony. You have been stubborn for years to train your kicks, and it's just recently that he started to listen about the kicks and how he needs to stand, because we're trying to give him a little bit more of a dynamic, more striking style, where his kicks are going to come into play, because he's surprisingly flexible for a dude that's as jacked as he is.
And he's got all that muscle to go with it too.
He can throw. He can
and
hurl
weight.
He can hurl that thing and just be as devastating with kicks as he can with his hands. So imagine somebody with like the hand strength to be able to knock you out with either hand.
Right.
And then you're gonna add by the way, if you get kicked by him, something's gonna break.
Yeah.
That's where I'm kind of trying to take it.
But but again, back to the methodical for that particular. Because you're looking at him like, okay, what is his strength now?
Yeah.
But you're also thinking about 5 fights from now when we perfect this kick.
Yeah.
Then start bringing that in. It's so I love finding the art.
Yeah.
Of what people do, like, and that's the art of the fight trainer. Right. Is okay. This is where you're at now, and we're going to capitalize on it. But you're going to be good at this. Yeah. Later, and you're actually taking fighters from being like, I'm not going to say, well, I will say one-dimensional, to just being a complete like threat on all fronts.
Yeah. And sorry, I have to call a couple of these people out.
Go for it.
I see Chris Cleary just signed on. What's up, Chris? Haven't seen you in forever. Missed training with you. Another guy who was an absolute beast. Phenomenal boxing, picked up Muay Thai and kicking like a Thai literally in like a month or two. Jeez. And he was just an absolute monster. Doing great things as a firefighter now, but definitely and firefighting and EMS. I can't remember which one exactly. I think it's firefighting, Chris. But and also, hey Christine, nice to see you. But like I said with Cordero, it was just always Cordero's like that prototype, right? Like he comes from an athletic background, football mentality, that whole ability to drill. The thing about, high level athletes that I love to see is their ability to drill.
Like Tyron Woodley, DC Cormier, all those guys.
And even if you think about it from we can cross different sports. Like you talk about boxing, look at Floyd. Floyd's ring antics, I've never been a fan of. But as a fighter and at his work ethic and mentality in fighting, he's a phenom, an absolute phenom. And, you don't get skill like Floyd's just naturally. That doesn't come naturally. There is a deliberate process to building him to the way that he became.
Right.
You look at people like, even like Jimmy Lang. Jimmy Lang, like, you watch his fights. There are some things that he does when you look at it and, when you watch a video of him, it's like watching, somebody on autopilot. Like when you start seeing people like firing just because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between people that try to hit you with certain things and there are people that are just hitting you with it because they
programmed.
It's just programmed, right? Mm-hmm. And it's that ability to drill. We have so many guys at the school that are amazing at that. James Neville. I don't know if you've ever had him on your show or not.
No, we haven't had James Neville.
So James, phenomenal ground guy. And he, for him, we kept saying, you need to improve your stand-up. You need to improve your stand-up. Mm-hmm. So he did. He just started drilling. He started drilling how, started breaking everything down. Kenny Goudreau, probably.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about monastic obsession with like training and drilling and, you know, really trying to get better at things. You know, Kenny's got it like that. Like he's one of those guys. And like I said, Pablo at one point, we would, you know, and John gets mad at me for this, but you know, for me, this is where it's rewarding, right? Like you have these guys that'll call me on like off days. They'll call me on like a random Tuesday or a Sunday or something like that. And they're like, you know, hey crew, can you come out and hold pads for me? Yes. The answer is almost always yes. The only time it's ever been no is if I have family stuff going on, if it's interfering with my work.
Beautiful black women. We're gonna talk about that.
I don't know if Lauren's. I can't tell if Lauren's on right now, but she said she was gonna.
Oh, Lauren is on.
Is she?
Lauren, no, I mean she's on, man. Holy, we're gonna talk about that.
All right, we'll talk about her in a little bit. But like I said, like you know, guys like you know. All those guys, they would just, you know, they would hit me up and they're like, crew, can you hold pads for me on this day at this time? I'm like, yeah. Carlos Lopez, the White Lotus, love of my life. Love you, Carlos. Carlos and I would, especially when he had fights coming up, we would be at Export in Merrifield. Mm-hmm. He would say something like, you know, I'm coming out of class. I got to work on a paper. I won't be able to make it to the gym until 10 o'clock in the evening. No problem. I'll be there. I'll be there at 10 o'clock, ready to go. Get there at 10 o'clock. He'll work the bag. I'll watch his technique. You know, see if there's any input that I need to give him or anything like that, feedback. And then he'll go through his paces. You know, actually he'll run first. Then he'll do the bag work and you know all the stuff. And then we get to pads, and we'll just crank out like 10, 20 rounds on pads. Just you know. Trying different things and making sure that his technique is sharp on everything that we're trying and, you know, simulating all this drilling. And we would end sessions at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Jeez Louise.
I'd have to get up for work the next day, 6 o'clock, walk the dogs, go to the office, work my regular 9 to 5, and then go to Disciple and teach class.
Again. Dead tired.
Dead tired. But I loved it because, like, you know, it's the guys that are dedicated, and I know John has this mentality, you know, take care of the guys that show up. Take care of who shows up.
Yep.
And I
remember him saying that a lot, actually. Yeah.
And to me, that was my part in giving back to taking care of the people that show up. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, even you know, and I don't know if he's on, but like you know, guys like Mike Pope. Mike Pope I swear to God, I think Mike would have made me live with him if he could.
A live-in trainer?
Yeah, live-in trainer. But just like
you got to have the ducats for that.
Yeah, exactly.
How much does that pay?
Yeah, I'm gonna need a significant amount of money for that.
I feel like you could do it too. Speaking of, I spit all over myself. Speaking of what I was saying earlier about like you're not a 9 to 5 guy. You really, do it now, but you know to survive. But I would say make your planning and your escape to not being 9 to 5 guy, because I think you do your best work. And like you said, you're energized by it. Yeah. Whenever you find something that you're energized by, you just found the thing that you should be doing.
Well, and I know that that's definitely something that has been on my mind, you know, for years now. I mean, I've been coaching since 2005 and been doing Muay Thai since then too. And you know, I didn't start coaching for Ajahn until like 2008. So we're coming up on 10 years this October was when I started coaching for him. But coaching makes me feel alive, and it definitely energizes me. And it's the days when nobody wants to listen, when nobody wants to do anything, when people aren't showing up, you know, those days are few and far in between. But the days where like, you know, you have these people that really want to learn, are really trying to listen, you know, that kind of thing. That's rewarding.
Yeah.
And for me personally, you know, I remember when Ajahn Scott was, you know, basically asking me if I wanted to coach for his team, I always thought, I was like, man, I'm
not ready for that.
I'm not ready for that. I'm not on your level. I'm not on you guys' level. I don't have anything to teach these guys, you know? And you know, he was like, just come in, you know, come train with the guys, try it out, and, you know, let's see what happens. And, you know, I was like, I don't know. And for years, I like, you know, because I met Ajahn in 2005, back at the Fightworks days. Yeah. That's where I first met you.
Right.
And so, like, back then, like, I was just like, yeah, I don't think I know enough to be able to help these guys and, you know, be able to give them anything that would be beneficial for them. So a few years went by, and I was actually at the same time, I was also teaching Taekwondo at my friend's school. And
oh, really? So you were doing Taekwondo at the time? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Yeah, from 2001 to 2005, I was doing.
God, that had to be confusing because that's two very different styles.
Two very different styles, two very different mindsets. With and it was just it was crazy. And you start mingling certain things, like I would take conditioning drills from Thai boxing and bring it into my TKD school, and I'd have them try different drills out and stuff.
Joe Rogan had that. What was it? I love the phone videos of him teaching
George St. Pierre how to do a reverse side kick.
Yeah.
Dude, he was making that thing fly.
It was scary. I knew that he trained. I knew he was, you look at him and you can tell he trains.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that he went from George St. Pierre is the type of guy who he'll learn from anybody.
Yeah.
And apparently the story goes that somebody in his camp had asked Joe, it might have been the stand-up coach.
Faraz?
It might have been, I don't know if it was Faraz. It might have been, I don't know who it was. It was somebody in that team who said, "Hey, Joe, you know anybody who can teach him the sidekick?" And Joe's thinking to himself, well, I'm not a MMA fighter, so he was like, well, I kind of do, and reticent, like he didn't really want to admit it because he didn't feel like he was like you.
Yeah.
He didn't feel like he was ready to teach a guy like George St. Pierre. But boy, when George came into that thing and Joe started showing him that TKD sidekick and just killing that bag, and it was like, oh, we got something here.
Because I remember watching that video, and I was so fascinated by it because George was just lit up with curiosity. He was like, "You have to show that again, Joe.
Again,
Joe.
please.
Again, please, Joe. Again, please." And he was just nailing that bag. I was like, man, it was a solid reverse sidekick, and I was like, damn, like Rogan's got chops, like he can, and the way that he spun and like he would lead with it, he would get the turn to make sure that he was always looking at the target. Like it was technically perfect. The only and I'm not gonna rag on Joe Rogan, but he.
But you will.
Yeah, but it was just such a solid kick. But the only thing I was like, oh, I was always taught to rechamber my leg when you threw the kick, right?
And he just lets it go.
Yeah, he just lets it go
and drop. Yeah,
yeah. But I think that's part of what made it such a hard hitting kick, right? It was just one of those things where I was just like, damn, it was. Yeah, he knows. He knows how to do it.
That for me, that was a reminder. Don't sleep on other martial arts.
Absolutely,
don't sleep.
And there's I don't know if you've seen this video. There's this video that went around my Facebook feed. Heavyweight fight, big Asian dude, big black dude, heavyweights. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm talking heavyweights, right? Like
220, 250, something like
265.
Oh wow, okay.
Like big dudes. This is an international fight. This is you know how they don't care about weight classes
they're
too
like,
much in like
weight
Asia.
Mate.
Yeah,
whatever.
But these two big dudes, they were going at it, and the black dude was like, he was moving, and you could tell immediately by the way that he moved how light he was on his feet. I was like, he's gonna spin. Like I can see him spinning right now, and then next thing you know, I think he threw like a spinning hook kick, and then all of a sudden he throws some boxing in there, rocks the dude, and then starts throwing tornado kicks, like full on tornado kicks, Leo. Like
I saw the video.
You did?
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Oh my god, I was like, yo, mad respect.
Let me tell you something. If nothing else,
yeah,
we want to see that in MMA as fans because that looks cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, I do need to do a little callback here. Joe's Taekwondo instructor, black guy. Just saying. You're gonna do black guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you're gonna learn traditional martial arts, go to a black guy school. They're gonna teach you how to do it real good. I'm telling you. Like no, you should learn from a Korean. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But if it ain't
Maurice Smith,
I'm telling you, man,
kickboxing.
Don't screw. Don't. Yeah. Okay. Let me go ahead and say hi to Christine Crosby. Hi to Kenny Lopez. Hi to Sandy Williams. Hi to Kenny Gaudreau. Of course, hi to Mr. Cordero. I call him Mr. Cordero so he doesn't get angry at me.
Yes.
And Alice Santiago. Hello. She's a super fan as well. Right and on. She's asking what's the subject today. The subject today is Paul Sitcharing. This guy is a beast trainer, in the fight arts. So we're going to get even more into it. Tim Jays, whoever that is. Do you know Tim Jays?
No, I'm not sure I do.
He says hi, Paul. Anyway,
what's up, Tim?
So, all right,
there's good to go.
Good to go. Good dro.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you, what brought you to fight with to train with Scott?
Kevin Breeden.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
What were you racing speed bikes and things around? What were you doing?
No, back in the day. Okay, so I told you I took a break from all martial arts like in '98. In 2001, I got I started one of my friends who's in who works in Hollywood, does movies and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Came back into town. And he was like, "Hey, do you mind if we go? Do you want to go work out?" And I was like, "Well, what are you trying to do?" And he was like, "Oh, we'll just do like what we used to do back in the day, back in like when I was in high school." And I was like, "So you mean you want to jump around and do tricks and like
tricking, baby?"
Yeah. So he was like, "Yeah, we could do other stuff too." And I was like, "All right, cool." So, first we met up at Springfield Mall at that Kim's Karate.
Was it gangster back then? I don't think it was. I think it was a good mall back then, right?
It was getting pretty gangster.
It was starting to get a little gangster?
It was starting to get a little gangster.
All right.
Some of the stores had started to leave. But the Yamasaki Academy had a facility in that Kim's Karate.
Famous referee Mario Yamasaki of the UFC. Yep.
Yes, sir. That whole family was out there. Oh, it's Marshall and Jonah's dad. Okay, what's going on, Tim? Dude, sorry. Real quick segue. Two amazing kids that went and trained in Thailand. I know John Scott and John Douglas were both talking about them. I mean, what an amazing experience. You're like
going out to Thailand and training out there.
Yeah, training and fighting Thais. Like, for real. No elbow pads. So that's gangster.
Yeah, man. Why don't you just jump out of an airplane?
Yeah.
Do a little bungee jumping or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez Louise.
Putting your life in your hands. Like,
right.
No, but so anyway. So in 2001, he came back into town, wanted to train. So I started training with him a little bit. And then every now and then, whenever he would come back to visit his family. So every time he would come back into town, he would always call me up. And, finally we met up and started working out at my friend Adam Sterner's Taekwondo school in Herndon, Sterner's Taekwondo. And so we went over there and I had a friend at the time, my friend Migo, was over there training, and Kevin was there. And that's how I met Kevin Breeden. And, this is back in the MySpace days, right?
Yes.
So
before Facebook.
So Kevin and I became friends, and then he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go work out at Olympus. Do you want to go work out?" Yes, absolutely. And hey, do you want to hit pads? Yes, let's go find some pads. Do you have gloves? Yes. So we just started that. Kevin was one of the few people that actually got me started into holding pads for people.
Oh, okay.
So Kevin,
because he needed you to hold pads.
Yeah, exactly. And it was cool because at that point, Manny Pacquiao was on the come up and stuff like that. And I was watching how Freddie Roach held for him. And, I was like, I'd rather be Freddie Roach. I think that's a pretty cool gig. Like, that's pretty cool to do. So, I'm sitting there and I'm like analyzing technique. And at the time, Kevin would have to show me certain things. He was talking about how John was correcting his hook because I never corrected his hook. He would do a slapping hook, and started learning how to get the elbow up and all this stuff. And, so I started working with, when I started hearing that, I was like, okay, they understand technique. I need to start learning from them. And I remember, Kevin and I would train with each other for a year, for years, 2 years or so. We were training, and then Kevin was saying, I started looking for MMA schools. Man, I found this one in Sterling, and he lived in Herndon at the time. He was like, man, I found this one in Sterling. I'm gonna go check it out. And I was like, all right, cool. So he went, and then one weekend when we were gonna meet up to train, he came to the Taekwondo school. He's all banged up, right? He's got a shiner. He's got a cut on his cheek and bruises all up and down his leg.
He was at Fightworks.
And he was like, yeah. So I was like, dude, so how's Fightworks? And he was like, yo, those dudes are for real. Look at this. Look at all my injuries. And I was like, yo,
excited.
Okay, yeah. So I was like, alrighty. And so he was like, you gotta come and train there, man. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of damage. So then finally I was like, all right, cool, I'll come out. And at that time, I was just learning how to I was more interested in learning how to grapple. So I was doing a lot of no-gi jiu-jitsu and, working with Kevin and my friends and whatever we could pick up from wherever we would train here and there, like whether it was Yamasaki, Lloyd Irvin in Arlington.
But how are you? Okay, so how were you just doing open mats? Mm-hmm. That's a great way to do it too. If you're just trying to like dip your toes in.
Yeah, open mats are great because you get to work with people, you get to meet a lot of different people, you get exposed to a lot of different styles. So, I went there and I was expecting to just grapple a little bit and, I would roll a little bit. And then I was sitting off to the side, kind of like taking a break. And John, at the time, he was kind of just, he didn't like anybody sitting around, right? So he looks at me and he was like, you, come here. And I was like, yes, sir. And, walked up and he's got, at the time, he takes his gloves off and he was like, I want you to alternate kicks with me on this heavy bag. And he was like, Dan, can you hold the bag, please? And so Dan's holding the bag and he starts and he's like, yeah, boom. And I was like, oh, we're doing it that hard. I was like, all right, cool. So I just start cranking away at my kicks, and we're alternating on this bag and, Dan's having trouble keeping up. And, finally we finished the session. We kicked for like a minute, maybe 2 minutes, or like I think it was a full round. And I just remember I was like, done. I don't want to quit because, I know this, he's one of the coaches. I don't want to quit. And I don't want to look like an ass in front of him. And at that point, when the bell went off, he was like, all right. And I was like, go, my leg is got to walk back with a stanky leg. And, it was just and he was like, I do like the way that you kick. You have a really good pivot. And I was like, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And then from then on, we just, it was just one of those things where, like, I would see him out. Kevin would invite me out for his birthday. We'd hang out, and then John would be there, and we'd chit chat or whatever. I would drop in every now and then and train with the guys at Fightworks. That's when I met you, Talon,
freaking Talon,
Kelly Houston. Ooh, dude, Talon, Jermaine. You want to talk about just gnarly
Talon?
Skill.
Talon was my first Muay Thai wake up call. Because Talon,
it's a bad wake up call.
Talon was a pit bull. He was like maybe an inch or two shorter than me, so he was a little short guy, nothing but muscle.
Yeah.
Had long hair, light skinned black dude. So he had that cool like look about him, real smooth character.
Yeah.
But the wake up call was we were sparring, and then I had my white. You always have two sets of shin guards. You got the cheap white ones,
yes,
that don't do anything.
Yes.
And then you got the big black,
the big thick leather ones.
Ones that actually kind of do a little bit.
Yeah.
And we were sparring with the little nothing white ones, right? Basically, I should have put pantyhose on my legs to protect him. It would have done as much. And I go to kick him. It wasn't even offensive. It was a defensive thing he did. He leg checked my kick. And I thought he broke my leg.
That's not a fun experience.
That was my Muay Thai wake. I said, okay, don't do that ever again against a Muay Thai fighter.
I trained with Talon before he went to Thailand. And then I trained with Talon after he came back from Thailand.
Oh, my gosh.
And I remember, because, and I remember seeing him there one day. And, he's working out on the bag. He's boxing. He's got great boxing and all this stuff. And I was like, all right, his kicks were decent. And, it was cool. And then the next time, like, after months of not being there, I dropped in again. And there's Talon training with Kevin, and Kevin's holding pads for him, and Talon's just cranking away at him.
Whop, whop, whop.
And then you hear Kevin's like, teep, and then Talon just goes, wham! And I was like, whoa! He just flung Kevin across the ring with a teep kick. I was like, damn.
And by the way, Kevin definitely is not in the same. I mean, Kevin's a really tall guy, really solid guy.
Yeah.
So to knock him across a room like that.
Yeah. Dude, Kevin Breeden, you want to talk about natural talent, man. That dude has it in spades. And Kevin's one of those dudes that, what frustrates me about Kevin is a few things frustrate me.
He's so good looking he can ride sport bikes.
Yeah. Good looking, can ride sport bikes. And literally, Kevin's one of those people that can pick up anything that he wants to pick up. DJing, when he wanted to be a DJ, when he wanted to be a fighter, like all facets of it, like, whatever activity Kevin throws himself into, he can immerse himself into and excel. Like, that's the other thing. He can excel at anything that he throws his mind into.
Yeah.
Like, whatever his focus goes into, he's gonna excel at that.
100%.
Yeah, he just goes whole hog.
And let's not forget, he's got an attitude in spades.
Yeah, dude.
That son of a bitch. That dude had swag like like I never seen a tall white guy.
Sorry,
before.
hold on. John is watching. I need to straighten out.
Oh my goodness. There we go. See, maybe it's good Scott didn't come. You would have been all quiet and like,
yeah.
What do you think, Scott? What do you think, Ajarn? What do you think?
Yeah, I know. I've been just deferring to John all the time. No, but yeah, like I said, Kevin is just one of those dudes. Just he had that. He had it. He has it. You know what I mean? Like he has that mentality.
What's he doing now? What's his big thing now?
His passion's still in motorcycle racing.
Yeah. Because I always see he Facebook. I see all the pictures. He's like, yeah, check me out. I'm going 300 miles an hour on this thing. I'm like, oh, come on. You know what? Fighting might be a little safer. Do you want to come back to fighting?
Yeah. Well, the most he's gonna hate me for this. The most recent thing that I saw on Kevin was a video that his fiance took of him post surgery on his feet.
Oof.
And he's coming out of the anesthetics, and he's just like, and it's exactly like one of those videos where they're just like,
is this real life?
Yeah.
I want to touch your boobs. Can I touch your boobs? Oh man, they are just reckless, aren't they?
Oh, Kevin was cracking me up. Oh man, I so needed that earlier today. I was like, oh, this is an awesome memory to have pop up on my Facebook feed.
So, man, Scott popped up on the feed there. And we've been talking a lot about, fight and stuff like that. Do not let me forget to get back to Lauren.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, I won't forget. I don't even need you there. I'm going to remember. But let me ask you, that's the story of how you came to Fightworks and to train with them. What did you, when you first started and you said, man, I like Freddie Roach, I like his gig. Mm-hmm. Was that your mentality when you came in there? Is like, I want to support and create great fighters?
Yes, 100%. That was the whole intent.
But you fought though.
I fought once in 2014 in Muay Thai in Charlottesville. Great opponent, and it's funny because he was a lot younger than me, but we were both coaches at where we trained. Right, his name's David Reiner. If you watch this, David, love you, man. Great fight, still awesome memory in my life, and thank you for being a part of it. So
classy.
And it was in 2000. Okay, so you're into backstory. So the whole backstory to that is that in 2014, I was in the middle of my separation from my now ex-wife. We were separated. We were heading towards divorce, and my dad had been diagnosed with lung cancer. So he was getting treated for lung cancer, and there was just a lot of stuff that was just like a downer in my life, and like sometime in December, a John walks up to me. He was like, he was like, "You doing okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting by." And he was like, "Okay, good, because you have a fight in 6 months."
Oh, jeez.
And I was like,
"Wow."
I was like, and he was like, "You're fighting." And I was like,
"You don't say no to that."
Yeah, you don't say no to that. It was basically an order at that point. Oh, Steven and Pablo's on. Yes.
Pablo Garcia.
Yes, sir.
Hola.
So, I started training and I wound up losing. I weighed at my heaviest. I weighed 213, 15 pounds.
God, we are similar. We are so similar. That's my heaviest.
Yeah, 5'6".
Yep.
5'6".
You and I are
we're prototypes of each other.
Yeah. You're the Asian version. I'm the black version, man.
So I was like, all right, I need to get serious. So it was just one of those things where for some reason at that time, like, and this is one of the things that I admire about John so much is that, I have so much respect for him is because, at that time he recognized that I was struggling with something. And I tried not to let it interfere with my coaching or my responsibilities to the team or anything like that. So I always came in with a smile, joking with everybody. But, yeah, life was tough. There were some nights when life was really tough. It was really rough, Yeah. But it gave me drive. It gave me something to focus on, and it gave me something to reach towards. So I was like, "What weight do you want me to fight at?" And he was like, let's try 145.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like,
in 6 months.
And I was like,
I mean, it's possible, but when you're sitting on 213, you're just like, how the hell am I going to get down to that?
Exactly. And so, you know, there was a couple of nights where I was just thinking on it, and I was like, I remember I talked to several fighters, and, you know, asking them how they lose weight, and they're like, oh, you got to do, you know, you have all these diet methods, meal prep for weeks, and, you know, meal prep all the time and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm a very simplistic kind of guy. Give me some simple instructions.
Yeah, don't give me some, and you're gonna get that is a loaded question. Whenever you ask somebody, so what's your diet?
Yeah.
Oh God, you want to get a lot of different answers to that question.
Yeah. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna run. I'm gonna train.
Oh my
God. I'm gonna.
Paul. Okay, so when I think back to my first Muay Thai fight, where I got down, I think I was 160 for my first.
No,
fight.
you were. Is that the one at Lansdowne?
No, before that.
Oh, okay, there was one before that. Okay, because I saw you fight at Lansdowne.
Yeah, and this was just like a dumb little smoker, but I got down to 160, and the memory that I had was I had a hand-me-down treadmill. And, you know, my diet was clean. It wasn't a bad diet.
Yeah.
But the thing that besides all the training, because you know what the training's like.
Yeah,
Muay Thai
absolutely.
training is, you know what it's like. It's treacherous.
Yeah.
But the thing that when I think back, okay, how did I lose all that weight?
Yeah.
It was the treadmill, man. I was running my ass off.
Yeah. Lots of running, lots of water. You know, that's really
I didn't drink any Coke, no beer.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
I cut out all the junk, and I made sure that I couldn't get it into my house. That was the other thing. You know, for years, it was habitual of me to go to Wendy's. You know, It was either a McDonald's night or a Wendy's night or a Burger King night or a Popeyes night, you know, or a Bonchon night, you know. So,
oh, God forbid Bonchon.
Yeah,
man. I feel sick after Bonchon, man.
That's a tough one. And Pablo's saying we're gonna get matching suits. Oh, Cameron Howard's in the house. What's up, Cam? I'm waiting for Crew Chase to show up. I really want Crew Chase to show up, and I feel I really have to make if you happen to notice that
Chase is on there.
If you happen to notice that Chase Walden is watching, please let me know, because I want to make sure that I speak to him directly.
Okay. Only if it's going to be insulting. Is it going to be insulting?
It's not going to be insulting. Unfortunately.
All right, I'll allow it. Fine.
But you know, so I just started training my ass off and just started, you know, running. Going to class, going to regular, you know, training with the class. That was a different shift for me too, because now you're training with the students and you're not watching and making sure that everybody's doing the right thing. You have to make sure that you're doing the right thing too. Right. So, you know, you're just part of the flow of the class. So now, you know, I was training with the class. I was doing everything that the students were doing, running, all the conditioning, all the sparring, all that stuff. And you know, I kept thinking to myself, I was like, man, it's not going to happen. That weight's not going to happen. Yeah. And then I said, you know what? F it. Stop paying attention to the scale. Stop paying attention to the scale. Mm-hmm. Just train. Just run and train and do what you do, and, you know, make sure that you hold yourself accountable for it. So, you know, if I ever caved, I think I caved maybe I may have caved once, and it was out of necessity. I couldn't find any other food other than fast food. But that training set, when I went to Lifetime Fitness to go lift and run, I made sure that I said double everything. You usually run for 3, run for 6. You usually do 20 reps of this lift, do 40.
So,
you know,
so right there. Okay. So like I think something that will be good for the viewers of this is that, especially for Paul and I, which we are really fat guys.
Yeah.
I mean, like, naturally, if we were just to just let ourselves go, it's easy to let go.
I'd look like a Buddha.
It's so easy we gain weight, super easy. It's a lifestyle thing. It's not a look at the scale thing. It's is my mentality now, I will not do junk food. I will not do this. I will drink water this many times. This has to be gone by the end of the day. Am I running? It's just your lifestyle. So all these people, especially
Josh.
Ooh, Josh Francis.
Josh Francis.
There it is.
Jiu-Jitsu whiz. Also another TKD whiz. His striking style is very TKD. He loves Wonder Boy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wonder Boy,
and he fights like Wonder Boy too.
Does he really? Is he tall?
He's tall. Yeah, he's like 5'11".
Scary. That's scary. That's
but
scary.
He's just an absolute monster in jiu-jitsu. Monster grappler. Just super talented grappler.
I try to I love jiu-jitsu because of the art itself and how effective it is. I can't do a closed guard to save my life because I got knee troubles and my legs are about 2 inches long.
I know.
So everything is like open guard, and that's these tall guys that get really tall, thin guys that are flexible that get into jiu-jitsu. Boy, that is you found your niche right there.
Yeah, Kevin Breeden, except he wasn't as flexible, but man, Kevin could grapple his ass off. Like he was just. Again, a whiz. Whatever he threw himself into, he was just always a whiz at it.
Jeez Louise. So you had the one fight, but you're in the gym, in the fight gym, like you're always getting ready for a fight.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly helping these other guys.
Yeah.
You were talking about kind of like the heartbreaking part, really, of it is when the team is not there.
Yeah.
Either mentally or just they just don't show up for whatever reason.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, how do you get through that? Like,
so part of it is, you have to forge on, right? Like you have to keep doing what you do, and you have to believe in that what you're teaching is something worth coming back to. And it wasn't
even though somebody that you. And not to throw shade or like put anybody on blast, because I'm definitely one of those guys was there all the time and then all of a sudden wasn't there, right? But when you have a guy, and I know Ajarn, God, I'll never get used to that. Even he talked about it in his two episodes here on the show, where it's heartbreaking when you have a fighter that's you can see that they're going to be amazing, and then they don't come anymore. They're So at that point, you're thinking, are you thinking, is it me? Is it our training? Are we not gonna? Or what if a fighter goes to another school?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
I've never been upset about people that go to other schools. I've actually seen, there was a couple of times where I've seen guys that have trained with us now train at different schools, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. I've never been mad at that, and I think that those types of decisions are deeply personal, right? Who you train with and who you're gonna learn from, those are important things, And if something doesn't resonate with somebody because of my personality type or the way that I teach things, I can't be mad at that, because again, how others are gonna feel about me is none of my business. I can only worry about how I'm gonna be for myself. I gotta stay in my lane. If I believe in what I'm teaching, then that's all the approval that I need. Now the acknowledgement from somebody like a John and the guys that I train with, the fact that they'll trust me, in training them. That's the reward, right? Mm-hmm. That's where that's the rewarding piece of it. That's what gives me my joy. That's what makes it that's what makes it awesome for me. And I think that too often people get caught up in the whole I know there are some people that will say, oh, they couldn't hack it here, or no, they couldn't handle it here. They couldn't handle our mentality. They couldn't handle our methods. They couldn't handle the fact that we like to drill. They couldn't handle the fact that we like to run. Whatever the case may be. Yeah. We can't let ourselves fall into that trap of thinking that we have to change for our students. If you change what you believe in what you teach, that's one thing. But if you still believe in what you teach, keep believing in that, because you're above everything. I have to be authentic to who I am and what I know.
Right.
And everything that I've learned has led me to this part of my journey. And this is what I know. This is what I can teach, and this is how I can help you. Now, if those things don't match up, no hard feelings. I'm not the type of guy that'll get upset about that.
Right. Yeah. You're easygoing guy, a kind guy, nice guy, and giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do, by the way, for a lot of people.
It is. And you know what? It's a way for me to be able to say, yeah, I give people the benefit of the doubt. And if you admire that about me, try it sometime.
I love it.
And
I love that, man.
And if Are you always gonna be rewarded for putting your faith in people? No, you won't.
No.
But that's not your fault. If you are giving and people aren't taking, and people want to abandon you, that's fine. That's on them. That was their decision to leave.
People put too much. Nowadays there's a lot of depression and anxiety. So many people suffer from it, especially nowadays.
It's sad.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the mentality of, I'm not good enough for whoever, right?
Yeah.
One thing, one thing I learned being a Christian is I had so many people in my life, whether it be, family, friends, relationships, they have all at some point let me down.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person who I'll take it really hard and look at myself and go, what's wrong with me?
Right.
Being a Christian helps me realize that, people realize that people are going to fail you. It doesn't matter how cool they are. Yeah. Even Scott's going to fail you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The people that you look up to.
Hasn't happened yet, John, just so you know.
Not yet. It will happen, guaranteed. But the people are going to fail you. And if you expect that and you go, my well-being and my mental health is not tied up in how people think of me.
Yeah.
You're going to be a lot less susceptible to that. And that's cool, man. That's one thing that I get from you is that that's why I kind of laugh when you said, yeah, my self-esteem is low. I'm like, it doesn't seem that low to me. I mean, just based on, I know low self-esteem. I got some of that. And I know the signs,
Yeah.
Now you were divorced. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So real quick, I know Josh Francis was saying
shout
that.
Outs.
Tyler
Budding.
I love giving the shout outs. Tyler Cornbread is watching. Man, Cornbread is a monster.
Who's Cornbread?
Cornbread is Tyler Bunting. He is a 185er that now fights with us, and he came from Capital MMA, and put it this way, like one fight that John Rick Humphreys and I went to go with him to, and I can't remember where. I think it was somewhere in Maryland. It was somewhere far. It was a good drive away, but it was we went to go corner him, and he's we're in the back, and it's finally his time to warm up. Right, his fight's coming up, so we gotta get him on the pads. I got my Thai shields, and I got my belly pad on, and I was just like, so. For this first round in your warm up, I want you to hit as hard as you possibly can throw, blow it all out there. I want you to have an adrenaline dump in the back so that when you get in the ring, you don't have an adrenaline dump, right? Tyler starts going, and I'm just like asking for combinations. I was like 1, 2, 3, and he's got MMA gloves on, right? And I've got Thai shields on. He's punching so hard I can feel his knuckles on my forearm.
Jeez.
Like he's going through the Thai shield. And I was like, I'm scared to ask for a kick. So I was like, kick? And then he's just, boom. And he's throwing me back. And I swear I had like the bruises on my forearms. Like the next day I was like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen.
Paul, I've held lots of pads in my time. And, I'll hold pads for heavyweights. And especially even the ones that don't know how to kick still kick like horses.
Yes.
Do you ever you ever get kicked in the head? Like, what's your strategy not getting kicked in the head, or
keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. And I have gotten kicked in the head before. Actually, this happened at 2012 WKA Worlds. Carlos Lopez and Junior Villeda were competing in that year at Worlds, and during the U.S. national team, we had our training session that we had blocked out for when the team was going to train together, right? So I'm holding pads for all kinds of people, and these are people that have never trained, don't know me from a can of paint, right? I get these dudes, and I'm like, I'm holding pads for them, and I'm catching most of the stuff, and then I go body kick. And I hold the pads right here, and you see their foot come up. And luckily, I'm able to shift back a little bit, and takes the sting off of it. But they're still kicking me in like the jaw and in the neck. And I was like, dude, I said body kick.
Body kick. And there was I don't remember, but there was a time, I don't remember who was training this, but they were training the body kick. It was I'm sure it I'm sure it was Ajarn Douglas, where the body kick doesn't go like straight into like horizontal. It goes up
angle. Yes.
And that's so dangerous when you're holding the pads, because that up kick, if
they're not angling it right.
If it's not perfect and it goes a little too high and your face is kind of like in the way.
Yeah, because you got to hold it with your weight over it and stuff.
Yeah, so, because they got to be able to really wail.
Oh my God, Jermaine Holmes and Pam Heisey, hi. But Jermaine, I haven't seen you in forever, man. You need to come by the school.
That's right. You're breaking his heart, man. He gets pleasure from training you.
Yeah.
Dag nabbit. So what about Little John, man? Little John losing his eye in holding pads. You heard about that, right?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, Little John over at Greg Jackson's.
Oh,
he lost an eye. Like somebody's toenail was a little too long. The kick came up, hit him in the eye, completely lacerated his eye.
Yeah, that's awful.
And now dude's got a glass eye. So whenever you see him training his guys, he wears glasses on.
Yeah, Winklejohn. Yeah, you're talking about
Winklejohn, not Little John. Sorry, Winklejohn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't realize he has a glass eye.
Does that bother you? That like the thought of that?
No,
you ever think?
I never think about it that way, because a lot of times, when I'm holding pads for the guys, at that point, I'll ask if it's somebody new, right? I'll ask them for I was like, nice and easy body kick. And then, I just want to get, because what I like to do is, when I'm holding pads for people, I like to read how they're going to kick. I watch their body motion, because I want to be able to see what angle the kick is going to come from. Where's your hip? Where's your knee? And how is that calculate to how I'm going to hold the pad?
Right.
So you have to adjust. You do adjust to the fighter.
I hate new guys. New guys were the only time I ever got injured in training. It's always the new guy. Either the guys you've never trained with, or dude first week in the gym.
Yeah, some guys they try to go too hard and
proving a point.
Yeah, and it's funny to me, because I'm like, you don't have to do that, dude. I swear to God, you don't have to do. If you do what we're asking you to do, that's more proving your point more than anything else.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. If you just do what you're told, then that's the best way to do it.
Now, without saying names, have you ever had to turn anybody away because they just their mentality was toxic?
No. I can't think of somebody that I have. Not off the top of my head, no.
Just people, because you'll get guys in there that are like, they're in it because of the alphaness of it or whatever,
sure,
and have poor attitudes. And I know that's just not a place where that flies.
Yeah, well, luckily, I have never had to enforce anything like that, because what winds up happening is you have plenty of other guys that are very eager to prove to you are not alpha.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
You got to remember, I have that buffer where you have guys like Coach Rick Humphreys watching right now.
I got a nickname for him.
What is that?
Rick the Specimen Humphreys.
Yes, sir.
That guy. I saw him.
Appropriate.
We're doing a shoot for the gym.
Yeah.
And he was over there training, and I'm like, this guy looks exactly like what he looked like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Just like
absolutely
ripped, shredded, looking like ready to. He looks like he was an action figure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Freaking specimen.
I
hate you, Rick.
It's so funny, because one of the first videos that I saw is
Oh, don't pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about, Rick. Rick's a dick, man. Now, anybody who looks that good and is that nice, there's no reason you should be that nice to people. If you look like that, you should be kind of a dick, I think. Just be more of a dick, Rick.
I'm sure if you ask his sparring partners, they could tell you that he is.
He is a dick.
And Coach Brian Logan watching, thank you. What's up, Coach? But yeah, I remember one of the first videos that I saw of Rick, the soundtrack that he had, bodies, let the bodies hit the floor. I remember watching a highlight reel of Coach Rick, and I remember the first time I met him, actually. The first time I met him was at an event, at an Operation Octagon event of all places, and I remember John introducing me to him, and he was like, "This is Rick Humphreys," and he was like, he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I know who you are. I'm a fan." And he was like, "Yeah, no." And I was like, "Yeah, I've seen your videos and stuff." And I was like, "You're amazing." And he was like, he's really humble at the time, and so it was just really cool to meet him.
Still a very humble, good guy.
Yeah. Nobody hurts me as much on pads as much as Coach Rick.
Yeah. Well, that's because he's the specimen. That's why it's too much muscle going on.
Yeah, he is just a beast.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned, when you hold pads for people, whether they're heavyweights or, oh shit, the White Lotus is in the house.
Uh-oh.
Carlos Lopez.
Got serious.
So I know I may hurt some people's feelings on this, but I do have to be honest about this. I've held pads for a range of different fighters, from the lightest weights, even kids, to heavyweights, 260, and heavy-handed, heavy-legged dudes like that can really kick. That knew how to kick. Nobody has ever kicked me as hard as Donald the Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about him. Okay, cool.
I got to hold pads for him one time. He did a seminar, Disciple MMA. Oh, what's up, Jeremy Clyburn? I got to hold pads for Donald Cerrone one time when he came out to do a seminar for us. And I remember John asking him, he was like, hey, do you mind doing a round of pads with my pad guy? I think it would really make his life. And and I'm kind of just sitting there like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, can we please do pads? Can we please do pads? And like Cowboy's like, yeah, sure. And like in my head, like fireworks are going off in my head because I'm just like so excited, right? And so I was like, hey, Cowboy, is there anything that you wanted to work on? And he was like, so you're a dance coach. I'll do whatever you say. And I was like instantly, I was like, I'm going to pass out right now. If somebody get a gun, shoot me, because I'd rather die a happy man right now. So, and I'm holding pads for him. And it was funny because when I was holding for him, it flowed so well. And that just, to me, that was more a testament to his skill and his ability to gauge where I was going to put the pads and my ability to read where he was going to hit. So we had a good, gelling, we kind of went Bluetooth and we could read each other kind of deal, right?
Oh, I like that. Bluetooth.
But, man, it was just one of those things where, like, every time I remember asking him for a combination where he would go right cross, left to the body, right kick. And each strike that he threw, it was just like, pow, pow, boom, like the way that he kicked. And when you watch Donald Cerrone kick, it looks unorthodox. It's not like a Thai style round kick. It's not a TKD round kick. There's this weird hybridness to it. But he knows how to push his weight into the kicks that makes it super effective and super fast. And when he hit that the pads, like it felt like he kicked all of the pad, not just where his shin landed. It felt like I felt the impact of it through the whole pad. And I was like, that was weird. And I was like, throw 2 kicks. And he was like, bam, kaboom. The second kick would just be like gnarly hard. And I was just like, I've never felt that before. And I've never felt it ever since. Like, I've held, and, Carlos is watching. I've held pads for Carlos for years. Carlos kicks like a freaking mule. Yes, my arms are always bruised whenever I hold for Carlos. But that impact that I felt from Cowboy was just so different. Like his base is so solid that he just really knew how to dig in and just really take advantage of all the weight that he had, all the momentum that he was generating.
And he fights at 150.
Well, he fights at 170 now.
70 now.
Yeah.
Which is actually a better weight for him.
I think so.
Because it looks like he can walk around like that.
I know that one time he was walking around at like 190, so 170 is a great weight for him. He's got great cardio at that weight, and I saw his fight with Matt Brown, and Matt Brown is no joke.
Not a joke.
Dude, he went for it. Like they were going at it.
I love watching Cowboy fight. Cowboy fight is like, you're going to see a good fight.
Yeah. Whether he wins or loses, he is gonna put on a show,
and he's
gonna make it good.
He's a likable guy too.
He really is.
Cool character. I love watching him. Whenever Joe had him on, those few times, I've only seen 2 or 3.
Yeah, some of the most entertaining episodes I've ever seen.
I love it because the guy's attitude is just so. It's what I hope most fighters become at some point.
Yeah,
with
what's up, Daniel?
Who we got?
Cowboy. He's called Cowboy.
Oh, that's Cowboy too. Wow, he thought you were talking about him. Let me get on this podcast. So, just switch gears a little bit. And, you can tell me to hey Leo, no or whatever. But why did you get divorced?
Okay, so story of my life, and I try to be as open book as I possibly can. Without trying to dive into other people's business. So, backstory: 2003, met this girl named Tamara. We started dating. 2008, And 2006, we moved in together. 2008, we got married. And in the course of that time, from when we got married and, you know, moved in together, we bought the townhouse that I live in now here in South Riding. We had a great life. But the interesting thing was, Tam and I never fought. Never fought. I mean, we had disagreements, and there were times when we've gotten upset at something the other person did, but we never had like knockdown, drag out, like screaming matches or anything like that. It was always like, you know, we always discussed everything. We would always try to be calm and all this stuff. But at some point or another, we started to grow apart. And, you know, if there was any advice that I could give to anybody that's newly married or thinking about getting married, Pablo and Pam, you know, don't lose that. There's a part of you that's going to have to grow as an individual. There's a part of you that's going to have to grow as a couple. Don't lose sight of the fact that you guys still have to grow as a couple. And it's a lifelong journey. Now, when people will, Coach Rick is like, don't do it. Coach Rick, you know, well, it's funny, you know, so one thing that I know is a predominant opinion when Tam and I first got together was like, oh, no two people could have been more perfect for each other. Because, you know, everybody had the same kind of vibe off of us. You know, we're these like super nice, super kind people, always looking out for everybody else around them, you know, very nurturing and all this stuff. And, you know, that was great. But again, we grew apart as individuals. Mm-hmm. And at some point, we got to the, you know, we did the counseling thing and all that stuff. And I'm sorry, Tam, for putting our business out there like that. But I'm just trying to tell our story truthfully and fairly. And
you're helping people too.
Yeah. So we did the counseling and we did all this stuff. And then we, at one point, we had, we were supposed to go to counseling on a Monday. We had just come out of a vacation at the Outer Banks. It was May of 2013. Right. And we came back, and you know, I knew that the next day we were going to talk to the counselor, and I was like, "Hey, so what did you want to talk to the counselor about?" And she said, "You know, I no longer have the energy to fix what we have." And in my head, I was like, "I know what she's saying." You know, oh, Tafazul, all the way. I don't know if he's still in India or not, but he's watching, and real cool cat, great student. Wish he could still train with us.
Your phone is better than mine because you're getting the updates faster than I am. I'm still on Rick Humphrey's little face emoticon.
Anyway, so
she said that was kind of like a death knell.
Yeah, and you know, I said in my head, I was like, all right, I think I know what she's saying, and I looked at her and I said, I think I know what you're saying, but I need to hear you say the words. And so finally she said, I want to get a divorce, and I was like, cool. At that point,
you said cool?
Yeah, I mean,
because you knew it too, but you didn't want to be the guy.
It's not that I didn't want to be the guy, but at the same time, you know, for me personally, if you ever watched this, there was just so you know, I'm not mad about anything, but you know, at one point I thought we were going to keep trying. I really thought we were going to keep trying. But what I realized is that at that point, when she said that I no longer have energy to put into making what we have better, what I realized was that even if I did, one person wasn't going to be able to.
It takes two people.
It takes two people.
They both have to work.
Yeah. So teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right.
And thanks, man. Hey, what's up? Jackson Harrow is on watching too. What's up, Jax? Jackson is this tough ass kid from up north that came down to train with us one summer, and just a little badass. I hope he comes back to come visit us, and you know, really looking forward to seeing him again. Adam Ajtaji, miss seeing you, man. Always been a good guy. Love training with him when we used to train back in the day. Anyway, so back to the story. So when she decided that, you know, she had checked out,
yeah.
You know, even though I still wanted to give it another shot, you know, one person was going to be able to carry it. Both of us would have had to do it. So that's when I just conceded, and I was like, I understand. But the cool thing about that, though, was that at that point we had clarity, we had vision, we had a direction, right? And I think that's, whether it's in that direction or in the to improve direction,
right?
Direction was going to be critical to making that a success, right? Whatever it was going to be.
So what? Excuse me. So what was the counselor having you guys do?
Just air grievances and see where we stood on certain things. If there was anything that was bothering us that we haven't told the other person, and just trying to figure out, if there's a way to get that communicated.
Right. Communication is crucial. And people say, okay, well, the number one, okay, little, just to let you know, I actually have a couples group that I host here on Thursdays.
Okay.
So, and I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
So, I get to hear stories about relationships and how they work, why they don't work, and all that good stuff. Okay, so I've got that sort of background. I'm interested to know about when she said that, right? Mm-hmm. Before that, hopefully the counselor was trying to get you guys communication to a point where you guys are being honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, you got to be respectful of it can't just be like, yeah, he does this. Yeah, she does this. It's got to be, look, this is how I feel when this happens, so that they're not in a bad place when you give them that news. Right. And there's got to be no ego, so that they hold it against you and resent you. Do you feel like maybe there was, on your part or her part, do you feel like there was a little resentment at that point?
No, I don't think there was any resentment at that point. I think it was just a matter of we were a little late in getting to that point where we thought we needed to fix it. I think we had just gone down a road that we just couldn't get back from.
Right.
And some people may say we could have. Time will tell.
Well, if she didn't check out, now no offense to her, but I could if you had been the one to say that, then I would have said to you right now in your face, I would have said, well, yeah, it could have worked if you didn't check out. Yeah. As long as both people are still working on it and they're sacrificing themselves for the relationship. I've seen things
turn around.
Horrible. I've seen guys where they actually would get prostitutes.
Oh, okay.
They got caught.
Yeah.
Of course,
that's tough to explain away.
Yeah, and the wife is like,
may I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got it. You got to tell me if you want the hookah. There we go. So, man, I'm not as focused as you are. What was I saying? Yeah. So I've seen. Yeah, you got to blow it out.
I was gonna say prostitutes.
Yeah, prostitutes. So when you have a situation where there was infidelity, and you
never had that,
right? Yeah. But I've seen where even in an infidelity, as long as the person that was cheated on can go, yeah, but I still want this to work. I've seen those relationships turn into beautiful things. So
absolutely,
if a relationship can go, dead children, children die, and that usually breaks up a marriage too.
Yeah.
So just these horrific things. So I believe that as long as both people are working, both people are honest, relationships can work. That doesn't mean they will work. It just means that they can work.
Yeah, there's a potential for it. And I think that, one thing that people have to understand is Coach Rick, he's like rookie. I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? One thing that I do have to say is that, regardless of how many people will say, oh, it could have worked out, it could have been better, yada, yada, yada. 100% I agree with you that the potential and possibility was there. But what I do have to tell you, what I tell those people is that was not our path.
Right. And you're good with it.
Yeah, and we're both good with it.
Right.
So we, and again, this is all part of the lead up to the fight. So I do the fight, and this is in June or July of 2014 that I fought, right? And let's see. That was June, July. And then that was the year that I got divorced. 2014 was the year that I got divorced. My divorce finalized September of that year. The Friday before my birthday. And here's the thing, right? Like when Tam and I separated, we talked practically every day. We still talked every day. Texting, IM, whatever.
Wow.
What's up, Bizrat? I'm watching you. I know you're watching. Please come and train more often. I know the work gets in the way, and that's kind of the situation that I'm in now. But I want to see you training. I want to see you fighting. Love watching that dude fight. Anyway, so during our separation period, we were still talking to each other, and I wanted to make sure that she was okay and that everything was taken care of. So she actually lived in the townhouse. I helped her pay some of the bills for the townhouse. I went and found an apartment where I could take my dogs. I But I tried to be as good to her in helping her find her happiness and helping her find peace as much as I was trying to find my own. Right. And, you know, we were both very supportive of each other. It was really, you know, it was just really, you know, give and take. It was we had morphed into a really, really cool friendship. Right. That was, we were caring with each other and all that stuff. So 2014, my divorce finalizes. 2015, my dad passes away from cancer. And then 2016, my Rottweiler dies. And then 2017, I got laid off. All kinds of like weird, negative stuff happening. But, you know, you have to stay positive through all that. And one of the things that I started, you know, to do a lot back then was I started listening. I first got exposed to this man named Randy Pausch. He was the author of this book called Last Lecture. He was also a professor at not Cornell, college in Pennsylvania outside of Philadelphia. Not Cornell. God damn it. I can't remember the name of the university that he came from, but he was this professor that was dying of pancreatic cancer. He was dying from pancreatic cancer, and he gave this lecture, and it was all, you know, it sparked an interest in me of like, you know, motivational speaking and like trying to find the positive and like a lot of different things that life will throw at you. And that's kind of become, no, not Bucknell, sir, but I cannot remember it for the life of me. I can't remember it. I'll remember it at one point. Anyway, it got me into like listening to motivational speeches, and there's that really, really famous speech that everybody's like, that audio that everybody's turned into like a motivational video for different sports is Eric Thomas. How bad do you want it? If you want it as bad as you want to breathe, you know, that video. So videos like that, like, you know, I started listening to those speakers and trying to learn from them, and, you know, trying to incorporate their kind of message into my own lifestyle and how I lived, and, you know, and part of the product of what, you know, what that did was like the person that you see now. Like, you know, I'm happy-go-lucky. I try to be positive about everything. It's just because that's become part of my, you know, my mantra. Like, you know, it's kind of what I do now.
What gets you up in the morning?
The fact that I haven't become the person that my that my dog would have wanted me to be.
Your Roddy?
Yeah, my Roddy. Because for both of us, in my Roddy's eyes, I could do no wrong. I was the coolest human being on earth. And in my eyes, he could do no wrong. He was the greatest dog on earth. So
I'm going to have to introduce you to Raider after this. He's my 10-year-old boxer.
Oh, sweet. So, you know, my whole thing is like, you know, I have to fulfill the legacy that he thought I would leave.
Interesting. You know? Interesting. Wow.
And you know, you want to become the dog that you want to become the person that your dog thinks you are. Because if your dog thinks that you're the greatest, you need to become that.
Check that out.
Walter Meza, what's up, man? And so, anyway, getting back to the divorce story, you know, after we separated and got divorced and all that stuff is final and everything. Let me see. I think it was 2015. Yeah, it was 2015. So my ex got engaged. She got engaged to this really great guy, and you know, we were talking online, and you know, she was like, I was like, how are wedding plans going? You guys get taken care of, yada yada. And she's like, yeah, but we're having a problem with the officiant. You know, we're having trouble, you know.
Oh God, if this story goes where I think it's going.
So
okay.
I was like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if I presided over your wedding? And she was like, would you? And I was like, oh snap. I was like, yeah, hell yeah. Why not? Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
And so you know, I researched it online. I went and got ordained. I went and got my civil servant's license at the Loudoun County Courthouse. And you know,
God, you're
a few days later, I'm performing a wedding ceremony at her house with her new husband. The funnest part about that story was that, you know, her mom was there, my ex-in-law, and her now husband's family are there. So they're like, you know, oh, who's that? Oh, that's the officiant for the wedding. By the way, he's Tam's ex-husband. Everybody's like,
what?
actually posted a picture of myself and Tam at her from her wedding day, and I was like, "What do you do when your ex gets married? You officiate the wedding."
Oh my gosh! Wow!
But
wow!
And that's kind of just like a testament to the kind of friendship that we have. Like that's just how we are. Like we still talk. We still talk a lot. Matter of fact, I was talking to her earlier today.
Really?
And
so you guys really were just you are friends.
Yeah, we are.
You're friends.
We're great friends. Wow. Love her to death. Love her husband to death.
So who do you hate? I need some hate. God, you're a loving guy.
I try not to hate anybody, man. For real.
Who do you strongly dislike? Besides Floyd Mayweather and his antics.
It really, you know what? It's funny because like I try not to get too down on people. I mean, if we're gonna go with safe answers, I hate Hitler.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty safe. Me too. What is yellow?
Cameron, yellow lantern.
Yellow lanterns. What does that mean?
Like the Green Lantern, right? So,
you're the Yellow Lantern.
No, well, he's saying the things that I hate. Yellow Lantern, because my one of my favorite comic book characters is the Green Lantern. Mm-hmm. Like the back of my Jeep has a Green Lantern sticker on the back of it.
Hal Jordan.
I'm more of a Jon Stewart guy.
Oh, okay, all right, man. I didn't know you were deep in comic books, man. Dag nabbit.
Not that deep, but I can speak to it pretty well.
I got my favorites right there behind the 50 cal shells. Up in the middle of the...
Oh, okay.
See where there's 50...
Oh, yeah.
I got
Wolverine.
Wolverine, Witchblade, sort of Punisher was one of my favorites for a long time.
Dude, I didn't realize those were 50 cal shells. That's ridiculous.
That's what a 50 cal shell looks like, son. That's...
Damn.
You don't want to get hit by
That's a lot of metal.
Yeah. That's heavy, too, boy. You could train with that, actually.
Yeah, and it comes at you fast at that point. Anyway.
So you... So that is, there's nothing normal about any of that you just said, but it speaks to kind of the guy that you are. And it's interesting that you mentioned the motivational stuff, which has become huge, especially now online.
Yeah.
There's a lot of venues to be inspired,
Yeah. I would love to be that. I would love to be one of those.
Okay, so that goes right into my question that I have now is, okay, so, you've got the 9-to-5 and you've got training fighters.
Yep.
What's your plan, man? What's your future look like for the next 5-10 years?
Well, I've always been more often than not, I've always been a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy.
Okay.
And you got to remember that part of my upbringing is that old traditional Asian kind of mentality. You grind, you work hard, and you do what you do. And hey, Karishma. How you doing? A new student that love training with her. She's just an absolute sponge. Always just loves learning, and she's awesome to train with, and amazing party animal. If you ever need somebody to go party with, Karishma should go.
That's the one. All right.
Anyway, for me, I think that my upbringing and my mindset kind of just lends itself to working hard at you have your job, you have your way to support yourself, your family if you have one, and you kind of go on that you go on that journey. Being the thing about being divorced and with no children, that what's made that a little bit interesting is
Scott says you're gonna take over so he can retire.
Damn it, he always says
I knew
that.
he was gonna say that. I knew it.
I don't want that. I don't want that responsibility.
You said that before you started holding pads.
Yeah, and oh my god, it was that. That was one of the things that I always we used to talk about whenever when he was trying to get me to coach with him. He would like he'd be slick about it too. John was really slick about it. He would call me and he'd be like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go have lunch at this spot. You want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So he's like, "Yeah, I'll come get you." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So we're in the car, and then he'll start bringing it up. He's like, "Hey, so
just you and him. He's driving.
Yeah, so
you're a captive audience.
Yeah, you want to coach? Yeah, we'd love to have you on our staff, and I think.
Oh, here I've got a little bit of audio of what you said to him. You go, "Sir, yes, sir." Every time. Future coach of disciple, awesome, or future owner.
John is a really hard person to say no to. Like he makes it difficult. He makes it difficult to say no. I'll say that. I'll say it like that.
So
respectfully, John, just making sure that you understand.
So, you while you're taking a toke off of that, you were saying that you fly by the seat of your pants, and the divorce and not having any kids to sort of have to deal with or take care of puts you in a situation where you're thinking, what's the future?
Yeah, and now it's like, I do have my 2 crazy dogs right now, but like, if I didn't have them, they're kind of like what anchors me to this area, right? Like, because
your dogs anchor you here?
Yeah, because it's hard to travel with them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay. So traveling would be a thing for you.
Yeah, traveling would absolutely be a thing for
me. What would you do? Like, what kind of traveling?
If we're talking about domestic, I'd love to visit the West Coast more often. I'd love to see a lot of the museums in New York. I'm a touristy kind of guy. I don't mind touristy kind of stuff. You know, on the West Coast, if I'm ranking the major cities out there, it's San Diego, San Francisco, then LA.
I lived in San Diego.
Oh my God, it's amazing out there.
It's amazing, man.
It is just a magical place.
Except for the fact that it happens to be in the state of California, it's a great place to be. California is a crappy place to live.
Yeah.
Because of the politics and the cost and all the stuff, but
the cost is astronomical.
It's like living, but the one thing I noticed that it's like living here in the DC area.
Sure.
Except you got a beach 5 minutes away, so it does have that. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So you,
Crew Sam, C Penong is in the house, and Junior Ruby too. What's up, Junior? Love the mustache. Saw it on Facebook.
So you would travel, and sounds like for leisure, but like as far as like you making a living, if you weren't, doing the 9-to-5 thing that you're doing now, how would you make your living?
It would be really cool to be able to do motivational speaking gigs. I think that would be.
I can help you with that.
You can?
Yeah, I can set you up.
That would be amazing. So I have, I already have. I'll send you the outline of my speech.
Send that to me.
It's called Fight For It, and it's all about how the lessons that I've learned in combat sports, and especially Muay Thai, applies to my life.
Okay.
And it's all about,
We're going to work together.
Okay.
I've got...
Love it.
I've got a lot of... Actually, I work with a lot of speakers through Vicar Studios.
Okay.
And, I've been able, like in their world, to kind of see what makes them successful.
Yeah.
So if we can get you on that trajectory, that would be fantastic.
That would be amazing, dude. I would love that. Absolutely.
We got to figure out the dog sitting issue. Got to have a good dog sitter of some kind, Got
to have some sort of arrangement.
Now, as far as the training thing, you love training. You love.
I do. I love training guys.
But do you love it enough for it to be the gig?
So there's a financial component here that I never like speaking about with John, because he always tries to push the financial rewards on me, and that's kind of something that I always shy away from. So one of the things that he beats me up about this all the time, and he's like, your time is valuable, your time is valuable, your time is valuable. You need to be compensated for your time. You need to be compensated for your time. And I'm like, one of the things that made it so difficult for me to decide to coach for Disciple MMA was that in my own heart, I had to ask myself, is this something that you're going to do for yourself, for your own self-improvement, your own self-gain, and your ability to influence others? Or are you doing this because you want to be able to say you coached a bunch of fighters and you got them to the UFC, Bellator, Iron Fight, whatever? And for me, it was a really tough decision for me to decide to understand where my head and my heart were at that time. And mind you, we're talking 2008, 2010, right? That time period. And I was kind of just like, no, it has to be about how much I love it. It has to be pure. It has to be, I wanted to treat it like it was that was my monastic obsession. Like, I wasn't going to need to get paid for it. I wasn't going to want to get paid for it. I wasn't going to ask to get paid for it, because I wanted it to come from the heart. And everything that I've ever done for the team, I've done from a spirit of generosity and a spirit of giving and caring. So, John started to get really worried about it because at one point there was a stretch of I think it was maybe 2 months where literally I wasn't home every weekend. I traveled to New Jersey twice in 2 weeks, and then the third week I went to Pennsylvania for another fight, and I was traveling to go to these fights to wrap hands and hold pads and corner sometimes, depending on what the cornerman situation was. If I was going to be the third guy or the whatever, or if I was just there to wrap hands, I was just there to wrap hands. But in my mind, the way that I always kind of took it was that this is your contribution. This is your this is your moment to make this better for somebody else, and it's not about you, it's about them. You want to make it about them, and you want to think about what they're going to be, what they're stepping into the ring to do. And the fact that they trusted you enough that they will feel protected by something that you do and something that you taught them, that's where I got it from. That's your payment. That was my payment. And I'm talking about I used to drive, and mind you, because I would have trouble finding people to take care of my dogs because I have a pit bull and I have a lab husky mix. And at the time I had my Rottweiler. Big dogs. Yeah. So it was always hard to find people that I could trust to take care of them. So I used to leave as late as possible and calculate out okay, if I'm driving to if I'm driving to Atlantic City, that's a 3.5 hour drive. What time did the fight start? Fight start at 7:30. I have to be there. I have to be there by 7 or 7 o'clock to check in as a cornerman or whatever. So I would say, okay, gotta leave my house at 4. Feed the dogs at 4. Leave. Drive up to New Jersey. Work the fight, whether I'm cornering, wrapping hands, whatever. And as soon as that fighter's fight is done, hop back in the car, drive back to the 3.5 hours back. Same night. And I do that now for any fight that we're participating in. If it's up and down the East Coast, if it's within a 4 or 5 hour driving range, I will drive back same night. Wow. And but God, you love your dogs. Awesome. Well, especially at the time especially when I had Yoshi. Hey D, what's going on, D? Especially when I had Yoshi, my Rottweiler, because for me, and this is something that my ex and I, we had the only heated discussion I ever had with my ex was about the dogs, actually. Of course. Because at one point she had to decide whether she was gonna keep one, give them up, or whatever, and she decided to give them up, and it was better for her lifestyle. So, but at the time, I was so against that because I was like, let's just do like what parents do with their kids. Every other weekend you get both of them, and I'll get them every other weekend, and I'll have both of them every other weekend. And throughout, in between, we have just one dog. And she's like, no, I don't think that's going to work. It's going to be bad for them. So I remember telling her, I said, I could take them into a crowded stadium and I'll say, go look for mommy. And they're not going to look for anybody but you. They deserve something for that kind of loyalty. So that's how I felt about my dogs. So for me, and Neil's laughing at me. And for me, that was that was how I treated them. If they were going to be that loyal to me, I need to be that loyal to them. Right. So it's always about, how does it make you feel, the loyalty, and what they give to you, you got to be able to give back to them too. What you give to people, they have to be able to give back, and vice versa. Right. So that's kind of where that comes from. Is just my loyalty to them, and to, they're not just pets to me; they're companions, they're spirit animals. Are you like F cats? No, I'm not, but I'm definitely allergic to them. So another funny thing that some of the people that are watching already know this about me is that I'm allergic to raw fruit, alcohol, and cats. Wow. So if you made me an actual fresh strawberry daiquiri with real alcohol and put me in a room of cats, I would literally die in like a half hour. That bad? I go into anaphylactic shock if I eat raw fruit. Are you kidding me? No. But if you cook it, like if it's baked or if it's processed somehow, like canned fruit, I could tear through that, no problem. But if it's fresh, raw, off the tree kind of thing, ooh, I'm in bad
I never
shape.
Heard of that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's and deer.
Oh, you can't have the deer?
No, actually, I'm okay with deer meat. I've had venison before, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those things I'm deathly allergic to.
Well, you're a dog guy anyway.
Yeah.
Cats would never give you the loyalty that you need.
Cats will eat you when you die. Dogs will just guard your body.
That's right. Wow, man, that's crazy. That's kind of cool though. That's a cool quirk to learn about you, about the dog. I didn't know about the dog thing, man. I thought I was a dog person. Yeah. I'm not a dog person. You're a dog person.
No, I was.
And you're a person too.
Yeah, I'm a people person.
You are a people person.
I'm a people person.
Not just like this, like Eric, co-host on the show. He's like, yeah, I'm a people person, but then he's happy he would rather not be around people.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. I'm what they call, I guess by definition, from what I can see from the definition, I'm an ambivert. Like, I'm both introverted and extroverted. Like, I'm introverted in the sense that I get my sense of energy from myself.
Right.
But I like socializing with people. I like talking to people, and on a platonic level, I just love being around people. I love good energy.
And you're natural too. I mean, like on this show, by the way, very natural and very easy to talk to, and not everybody's like that.
Well, it's funny because I kept thinking, I was actually really nervous to come on this show because I was like, oh man, I'm gonna blab and I'm just gonna like start putting myself out there and this is gonna be weird. And I as soon as I sat down, I was kind of just like, talk like we're just talking.
It's all good, right?
Yeah, it is.
Even people that don't that aren't like you know what I mean, like as far as like affable and approachable and all that, people that aren't like that still like the show because it's a hangout. We're not really like, it's not a radio show. It's not I feel like, and I try not to do that. Like with some people, I was really excited to have you on because I know you, we have a personal relationship and you're a great guy. Some people I have on, I don't know them and they may be celebrities like Jimmy Lang, celebrity. Yeah. And it's like, God, I want to do, I think Jimmy really wants it to be a hangout.
Yeah.
But dude, you're Jimmy Lang. The first show can't be a hangout. It's got to be like I ask you questions. It's got to be like
an interview.
An interview show. Yeah. So that everybody that doesn't know about you knows about you.
Yeah.
And then when you come on again, then we can hang out. But we can't do that right off the bat. But with you, it's like, this is the best situation for both of us is to just hang out, chill, and you've got stories like I'm sure, we haven't even hit the,
we're still just scratching the surface.
Surface.
So it's cool.
But there is one surface we haven't scratched. I'd like to scratch. And her name is Lauren.
Yes.
How did that even happen?
Okay. So, I don't know if she's watching. She said she was going to watch, but
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, okay.
Be honest.
So, Lauren, I'm gonna blow your spot up right now. So, Lauren, I started working at the company that I work at the end of September.
Okay.
I work at Booz Allen, right? And part of their onboarding process is they have these recruiting coordinators that basically introduce you to the company, kind of give you a chance to understand what the culture is about, et cetera, et cetera. Lauren was part of that team, and it was one of those things where at Booz. They do the hoteling thing. So that means that you don't have an assigned desk, but you can sign up to use a desk for the day, every day.
So like hot desking is what we call it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Like same thing with like the WeWorkspace kind of deal. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so there was one, and one day Lauren happened to sit near me with one of the recruiting coordinators that I met. Her name is Renee. And they were just sitting there chit-chatting with each other. And, when people are that close to you, you can't help but hear some of the conversation. And so, they would make little comments here and there, and I would laugh, and I would make little comments, and they'd laugh. And we just started talking. And it was just one of those things where Lauren and I just immediately just hit it off, just like that. And there was one day where we both couldn't find a seat to reserve. So we were in this, like, common area where they have just, like, regular tables or whatever. And we were just sitting down, I was sitting down at the table and she was like, I can't find a seat. Do you mind if I sit here? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Have a seat. And we just started chit-chatting. And from there, we're like, I call her my work wife. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we're like, BFFs at work. And
Junior goes,
Ruby is killing me.
Junior Ruby says, taking notes on how to pull chicks at the workplace from Paul. Heck yeah.
No.
This is a multifaceted show. Just to let you know, we're going to talk about fighting and we're going to talk about gang pimping.
Jesus.
Just kidding. It's not pimping, but okay. So you guys hit it off and work wife, which means, you guys clicked really well.
Yeah.
And you asked her to go to this disciple
work function. It was actually the work function for Booz Allen.
Oh, that was the Booz Allen thing.
Yeah,
okay.
I was seeing all this stuff about it, and we actually started talking about the holiday party, and she was like, "Are you going?" And I was like, "I'd like to, but I don't have anybody to go with, and I'd love to have somebody to go with." And she was
gangster. Okay, stop. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on a second. This is my stop noise. Okay, so I got to turn that up a little bit. So you realize you just did a pimp move there.
I don't know. What do you mean?
That's a pimp move. Okay, so what you just did there was, so there's two different kinds of pimps, players, whatever you want to call them, right? Smooth guys that do well,
game, yeah,
that have game, right?
Yeah, not me.
There's two. No, that's you. That is you. Okay, you have photo evidence. So there's two types of guys with game. There's guys with game that beat their prey over the head.
And them over the head and drag them by the hair.
Yeah, and not in a weird, like, not in that way, but you know what I mean. Like they're kind of like the mean guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the asshole guy that girls just can't resist.
Yeah.
And then there's the nice guy that girls can't resist. You did textbook nice guy. She got to know you, personality. You got that personality, and then you go, man, I'd really like to go with somebody. I don't know who, but somebody would be great.
I didn't mean for it to sound like that. But
you didn't.
But she was like, yeah,
okay.
Is that your lie detector?
That's my, yeah, you did not pass.
But she was like, do you want somebody to go with you? I was like, would you go with me? And she was like, yeah. Now, if you saw the picture on my Facebook feed, she's like a foot taller than me, right?
So what?
But the funny thing was,
good.
I said, you know what? I said, and I'm not saying this to be like a jerk or anything like that, but it would be amazing if we both got dressed to the nines and you just walked in there like you're my arm candy.
God, that blue dress, boy. That blue dress, son.
Dude, we went shopping for that. Cam,
you're a pimp. Just letting you know, you're what's called a low key pimp. Like you don't realize it.
Well, it's funny because it was
you went shopping for the dress that she wore.
Yes,
you were like, here, why don't you try this on? That whole deal.
Well, okay, so I had a vision in my mind.
I got a whole other motivational speech for you to work on, my friend.
Because here's the thing, I had a vision in my mind, I had this. And you saw the suit that I was wearing. I had this bright blue suit on, right? And I was like, it would be kind of dope if we matched. And she was like, I don't have anything like that. I was like, well, let's go look for something that looks like that.
Of course. You knew that somehow. Somehow you knew. You were like, she don't have a blue dress. Let me go ahead and get this blue suit. No.
But, we decided on the outfit and it worked out the way that it did. And it was just a super fun evening. And
Do you realize that photo is one of...
It's one of my most liked photos on Facebook.
I was about to say, if I had ever seen clickbait in my life, you got this 5'6", right?
Yep.
5'6" Asian dude with this 5'9" beautiful black chick.
She's like 5'11", dude.
5'11",
without heels.
Just delicious. And he's sitting there, looking like sweet and innocent. I'm like, you're not sweet and innocent, bro. Bro, I see what you're doing. You may not know what you're doing, but I see what you're doing. I'm a student. Truly, I'm a student of the game.
Everything
bro.
of that was unintentional.
Yeah, of course it was. I know.
It was just happenstance that it worked out.
I know. It was like the. What is it? How the world came to be. It's a mystery. We just don't know how it happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
But everything just worked out.
It just worked out.
You son of a bitch. Jeez Louise. So you went. So where's that? Is that a relationship? What's going on?
No, not at all. We're just really, really, really good friends, and it's truly just a platonic relationship. She dates other people. She's dating other people, and I'm not gonna put your business out there like that, but she's got her own thing going. And so, I'm kind of just in the periphery. Like, if I want to go out to eat, I'll ask her if she's busy that night, and if she's free, we'll go out to eat. And if she wants to go eat somewhere and I'm free, if she wants to hang out somehow.
You are just playing with your prey right now. That's all you're doing. You're playing with prey. I'm not saying no. I can tell just by looking.
Yeah.
That she's not prey. Like she's not helpless.
No,
she knows what she's doing. But this is a situation where there's guys in their like bedrooms or, in their car going, Paul, I hate Paul. Paul sucks, man. Because Paul's doing the thing that I'd like to be able to do. And he's like, oh, I don't know how it happened. It's not, I don't know.
Again, and this really, I'm being 100% honest here. And I know, see, here's the thing. John always says that, when people say, I'm being really honest when I say this.
Then they're not being honest.
It's about to be a lie.
Yeah.
No, but truly, I really I like being around people. I like making people happy. I like seeing people laugh. One of the coolest things that you can ever do for people is make them smile and make them laugh, right? Aside from that, making them learn something or seeing something evolve in people, right? So the thing that's really cool about Lauren and I's conversations is that when we talk about, life, relationships, whatever, there's always things that we learn from each other and perspectives that we see that, when we talk, like you could feel that, that deep mental connection from like, a mentality standpoint. That's really cool. Now, like I said, one of the coolest things that you can do is like when you motivate somebody, right? Segue away from Lauren for a minute, but we'll come back. One of the coolest things that I ever got to do as a coach, instructor, whatever you may have you, back in my TKD days when I was coaching TKD, I had a student. We had this kid come into the studio, and he had alopecia totalis, so completely no hair, no eyebrows, no nothing. Right? Came in the middle of April, beanie on, like thick wool beanie, and he was interested in trying out the class, but he didn't know whether he could do it or not, and so I was like, well. I was running the class, so I was like, hop in. Let's try it. This is a beginner's class. It's cool. Do what they do, and just listen to what I say, and try to do what I'm asking you to do. He was like, yes, sir. Comes in, and I'm having everybody run through warm ups. They're doing like jumping jacks, jump rope, sit ups, push ups, whatever. He's starting to sweat like a lot, right? And he's a thin kid. His name's Elijah. Right, so Elijah is sitting there. He's doing the warm ups, and he's being a gangster about it. He's a trooper. He's doing everything, and he comes over to me like halfway into the class, and he was like, "Sir, I need to take a break. I think I'm gonna pass out." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "I'm burning up. I'm it's just way too hot. And I'm sweating so much, and my hat." And I was like, "Dude, take the hat off." And he was like, I never not wear my hat. And, and I was like, well, the alternative is you're going to pass out. So if you'd rather pass out, then keep the hat on. But if you don't want to pass out, I said, I suggest you go into the bathroom, take the hat off, splash some cold water on your head, let yourself cool off, come back out. He was like, but, people are going to notice that. I was like, people aren't going to notice a thing. So just come out, train like everybody else is training. It'll be good. He came out of the bathroom, and you could see he's like, real shy about it. He's kind of like trying to hug the walls, kind of deal, and he doesn't have his hat on now. So he's like, kind of like putting himself in the corner, and I start pulling him out into the middle and showing him moves and kind of just distracting him and making it about us. This is what I need you to do. Focus on this. And he did, and all of a sudden, he stopped wearing the hat, and I was like. And I was like, we got him to stop wearing the hat. Like, I was like, does anybody not see that? Like,
breakthrough.
It was a breakthrough. And all-time moments in coaching, that was one of them. That was definitely something that I was just like, oh my God, if there's anything that I'm ever going to be proud of in my life, that moment when he walked out of the bathroom and started awesome, training. Man. I was like, that was 10 times more rewarding than any bonus pay increase that I've ever gotten in my corporate jobs ever. Yeah. Like that feeling of like connection and being able to get somebody past the hump that they had. That was just, you know, it was a powerful experience.
Paul, all right, listen to me. Listen to me, man. So this show, I don't know if you realize, this show's been going on for about 2 hours, 24 seconds. It's on the clock from hell right behind you.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, it got a clock from hell finally. Okay, so a couple of things. Now I've known you.
Yes.
Right? But we're having a real good conversation
yes.
today. Couple of things.
Yes.
Because I like to do the thing that you like to do, but I do it in my world.
Yeah.
So one is you definitely got to keep helping people. You got to give people, like from your life experience and the things you've learned, mm-hmm. I would like to see you continue that and even ramp that up. I'd like for more people to be exposed to your vibes and the things that you have to teach them. I don't know if you believe that at this point or not, because I know you like to stay humble and whatever, but you absolutely need to be out there.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. You need to be doing that. So I'm behind you, man. We're going to be talking after the show.
Absolutely.
I've got some things that I want to talk to you about.
Happy to do it.
You also gave a lot of good information for pimps and players out there, low key pimps and players out there on how.
Oh my God!
Just remember, he's got a good heart when he does it. He's not destroying lives. Okay, so don't.
Yeah, definitely not trying to destroy anybody's lives.
Yeah, not destroying lives out there, but yeah, I'd love to have you on the show, man. I feel like there's so many different directions that we can go and just.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been amazing. This is an amazing experience. Thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be here.
That's fantastic, man. So for everybody out there, can you give them some? I don't know what your plugs are that you'd like out there, but do you have any plugs for the people to reach you or what they should do now after watching the show?
Okay, so a couple of things. I want to make sure that everybody that's watching, or if you've never trained, if anybody's seeing this video for the first time, if you've never trained in Muay Thai, MMA, BJJ, Judo, any of those things, come find us. Find us. You know, our network has a pretty far reach at this point, right? So, Disciple MMA in Sterling, and then we also have, as part of Disciple MMA, underneath that entire umbrella is Lotus Thai Boxing, right? Lotus Thai Boxing, we have it in Winchester, we have it in Sterling, and we also definitely have it in Fairfax, where Crew Carlos teaches. So, we have places where you can go if you want that kind of vibe and training where it's really camaraderie and it's really like, a good setting to learn. We help facilitate that, I like to think of it as, our gyms are the gyms where egos come to die.
Yeah, you got that right.
Not because, we squash them or anything like that, but it's because it becomes one thing that, I love you too, Coach Rick. One of the things that I always try to, advocate is that, once you come to one of our gyms, you'll realize that it's not about me, it's about us. And we all have a chance to teach each other something. Yes, I got promoted to that's right. I'm sorry, John. We definitely, and if you're out of state, we got LTB in Ohio, Cincinnati, George Gurgel's Academy. George freaking Gurgel, former UFC fighter, and up there, if you're talking about MMA, you got David Reeves up there, who was like very few people can incorporate Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into MMA in the way that it needs to be. And David Reeves has that comprehension. Like he has that knowledge to be able to apply Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into MMA in the same way that John has adopted his style of Muay Thai into MMA. Like, no, we don't do everything traditional Thai when you're doing MMA and you're using Muay Thai and MMA, but your fundamentals and your core is still rooted in Muay Thai.
Right.
Coach Reeves is so good at, incorporating Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into somebody's game, whether you are just a wrestler or whether you are just a striker at first. He knows how to get that into your game. If you want to talk MMA, he knows how to get that into your game. So, it's, if anything, come find us. We'd love to have you.
What's the website?
DiscipleMMAacademy.com. And then for Lotus Thai Boxing, I'm not sure if it's lotusthaiboxing.com. I think it is. But if anything, find them on Facebook, find them on Instagram. Lotus Thai Boxing. You definitely you'll be able to find them. They're out in Fairfax, out there by Main Street, and fantastic group of people to train with.
It's pretty easy to for a newbie beginner, just come in and do like what would you recommend? Like an open mat?
It doesn't have to be an open mat. You can come to any of the classes. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7:00. Be ready to rock. Now that we're past the hump of is it the vernal equinox? We're past the winter solstice, so the days are going to start to get longer. When the days start to get warmer, we start to do our runs outside.
I love those memories too of doing the long runs. Dude, those are the best.
It is, and it's that whole thing of being able to bring a group of people together. So one of the things that we do when we run is you leave together, you come back together.
That's right. Nobody gets left behind.
Nobody gets left behind. So
and by the way, parents, I beseech you, if you're not sure what your kids should be doing, they should be at a like a disciple program, any one of the martial arts. I'm prone to Muay Thai myself, but the programs for kids are amazing, and it produces kids that become wonderful human beings. It's a thing that they're not getting at school or in their normal lives. It's something they can look back on, be proud of, and they get this awesome self-defense skill on top of that.
Conflict teaches empathy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you have to understand your enemy, and you have to, in order to do that, you have to have empathy.
I wish more kids got into martial arts.
I'm a huge proponent of it, and I think it's cool because, I've seen kids that were really in a wayward direction get their ship righted by being in something like this,
right?
And no, it's not about the violence because that's a very small percentage of what we teach. Right. It's really about team camaraderie, being
respect.
Respect.
Discipline.
Yeah, respect and discipline. Being able to say yes sir, no sir, yes crew, no crew, yes a John, no a John. Yeah. Those are simple little acts, but done over time, they build habits.
Right.
That's part of your habits build your character, and your character says a lot more about who you are. And for me, one of the things that I was always, and the reason why I'm kind of the way that I am is that I especially now, and it makes sense to me now because I heard this. There's this one speaker named Les Brown. He said, "When you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are." So every time I open my mouth, I want to make sure that something positive is coming out of it. Because I want to project that. I want to have that kind of influence on the world. There's a lot going on now that's fueled by negativity in not just in our country but in the world. I don't know if you read my post from New Year's Eve, but to me it's not about I'm not saying I have this resolution, but what I am asking is that people be more mindful. Be mindful of your state, be mindful of the people around you, because none of us know what another person is struggling with. So, and if you can be that positive force that pulls them out of that, don't ever deny yourself of that opportunity to be able to help somebody, because you could be on the other end of that stick at some point. And you may say that you don't want anybody to help you, but it'll still be nice if you help somebody, or if somebody helped you.
Right.
You may not want it, you may not need it, but it's still nice to have. Yeah. It's still nice to kind of spread that message, amongst everybody else. Each one teach one. That mentality that's something that my dad kind of instilled in me, is that there will always be people that have more than you, and there will always be people that have less than you. So you have to be thankful for where you are and what you have, because your 80% is somebody's 150. And
oh, I like that.
I mean,
that's
it's
a good
true,
one,
right? So if you say say you have a 6-figure salary, well, okay, 80% of that is 80. Somebody is dying to make that.
Yeah.
It's all about perspective, right?
And in the end, not really branding yourself with that anyway.
Yeah.
Because when you start to take out the fact, like a lot of people in this area are they identify themselves by how much they make, what's their salary, where they drive, what they wear, all that stuff. And when you strip all that away, you actually get to the human part and the part that's healthy.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic advice.
I mean, we have to be careful about what we put into the world, because we can only click that counter so many times as to how many days we have left.
Right.
I'm at an age now where I can remember my dad being my age. So I'm like, dude, at my age, my dad had 3 kids. He was taking care, he was taking care of he was part of taking care of a family, providing for us and doing all this stuff. And, how did he do it? Mm-hmm. How did my mom do it? How did my parents do it? My mom, for years, I remember my mom would wake up at 4:30 in the morning every day to make breakfast for my dad, make him his lunch and all that stuff, and then get ready for work for herself. And then come home, make dinner, and make sure that everybody's fed, and go to bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, just to do it all over again. And I'm like, yo, that's tough. And my dad used to pull 12-hour days. And he was, he's one of those guys that always worked with his hands. So it was manual labor. So I'm like, I look at my life now and I'm like, damn, weird. I don't feel like I'm contributing as much as my dad did at my age, because and that's part of what drives me, because I'm like, he was able to do all that and still be a positive influence. Now, I didn't always agree with my dad, but at the end of the day, I know for me personally, I reconcile with my dad over years, because you start talking to your parents, as you grow older, and when you're in your 20s. What's up, Coach Pedro? When you're in your 20s, you start to see your parents more as adults. You start seeing them as people. And so one of the coolest experiences that I had with both my mom and my dad is that as I got older, I would just go to, when they still lived in the U.S., I'd go over to their house, I would visit them, and I would just hang out, just sit at the kitchen table, tell stories, talk about my week, talk about their day, whatever. And you start to see them as just regular people that and I remember a few conversations that I had with my dad. One was when he was going through chemo for his cancer, and he was living in the Philippines, but he actually wanted to get treated in China. But so one time when he was getting his treatments, we would FaceTime all the time, right? So he went and got chemo. He went and did his treatment, and he was pretty weakened by it. He was a little bit beat up, but they do chemo differently over there, so it wasn't as bad for him. So he could still talk. So we were on FaceTime one time, and I asked my dad. I said, "Pop, are you scared?" And he was like, "Scared of what?" And I was like, "Are you scared of dying?" I built it up in my head I needed to have this conversation with him, because we all knew. Let's not beat around the bush here. This was cancer. This was the big C. He was stage 4. We knew what was up, right? So I was like, "Are you scared of dying?" He was like, "Dying?" "No, I'm not scared of dying." He was like, "We're all gonna do that." He was like, "I just don't want to go out like a bitch." So I was like, "All right, cool." And it was one of those moments where I was like, yeah. And he fought it tooth and nail. He fought it in his own way, the way that he wanted to do it, and he was fighting the whole way until his last breath. He was fighting for it.
Jeez.
So I can't ask for much more than that. And so in that sense, my dad he became so inspirational to me, and you start to think about your own life, and you start to think about, what are you contributing? What are you doing? Do something that has meaning. So the 9-to-5 gig to me supports my ability to be able to give and, be generous and be kind and all of that stuff. That's a part of it. And the way that I like to think of it is that, every human being is like a Rubik's Cube. You got 6 sides, 9 individual squares. You can jumble them up to look whatever you want, however you want them to be. But the entirety of who that person is still encapsulated in that one cube. Bits and pieces of them will show at different times, and when you see different parts of their personality. And even if they have it all together, you're only seeing parts of it at a time. So when I look at people, I look at them as a Rubik's Cube, and I'm like, okay, you have these components of yourself showing to me right now. What else is there? I want to know that part. You seem like a really well put together guy. Let me see the other sides of you. You know, things like that. When people have it together, that's cool. Like, you know, it's one of the reasons why I love, you know, just like when John and I will go out to dinner, and if you're ever interested, we can go to Chase and Tail. You ever been to Chase and Tails?
I haven't been there yet. No.
Oh, awesome place. John, Cam, and I, we love that.
Let's set it up. Let's set it up for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, you know, whenever we hang out to go grab a meal, or if we're just, you know, if we're hanging out after class or whatever, it's just one of those things where, you know, you gain insight from somebody like him, who's, and you want to talk about my stories? Jesus Christ, he's got some stories, you know. So, like, he's lived a very storied life, and he's got all these experiences that he draws wisdom from, you know, and it's cool to get his take on certain things. Now, we don't always agree on everything, but, you know, to hear his perspective and to hear how his experiences like shape the type of person that he is and the things that he believes in, that's, to me, that's the ultimate, you know, the ultimate point of having friendships like that and having, you know, connections like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about, you know, I don't want to just say like I have friends. I have connections.
Right.
You know, like the people that I interact with, I want to feel connected to them. I want to feel like, you know, push comes to shove, I'm gonna watch your back, because I know that, you know, at the end of the day, you'll watch mine.
Right.
You know, I love that feeling. So, like, the more we can cultivate that, especially in young people who are feeling so disconnected, but in a connected sense. It's just cognitive. It's just weird dissonance that they have from like being connected to their phones, but not interacting with each other.
It's a mirage.
You know? Yeah, it's a mirage, you know, and you have these, you know, it's almost like, I don't want to say they're fake connections, because I have a lot of Facebook friends too that I don't get to see.
But it's not deep though. It's not a deep enough.
It's not a deep enough connection. But once I get to, you know, hang out with them and then, you know, break bread, you know, like do something with them, that's when it becomes cool. That's the stuff that, you know, that makes it worth it. And then it's not about how many likes you're going to get on Facebook. And I mean, for some people, social media is an amazing tool for their platform to get a message out, you know, and I 100% advocate that. I love that. I know a lot of people in the motivational speaking realm use social media to be able to put themselves out there to get their message out. And that's cool. But at the end of the day, it's about how we connect with each other and how we're able to, you know, how we're able to help each other. That's really going to, you know, make things change. You know, whether you are an advocate for the change that Obama wanted, or whether you want to make America great again like Donald Trump, it all comes from concerted group effort.
Right. And
it has to come from all of us. And we have to, you know, one of the things that I said on my New Year's Eve post is that, you know, we're all we got. You know, Bruce Lee, underneath the heavens, there's all but one family. We are all one family, because you go far enough out from anything in this world, and you'll still see us as one. Because when you can see the whole world, you're not seeing
separate things.
Yeah, separate things. You're seeing the world as it is, as one thing.
I don't know if you've ever studied. I don't know if you've ever studied Buddhism or anything like that, but in Zen Buddhism, there's a koan, and koans are these riddles that you meditate on.
Yeah.
There's the first one I ever learned was it goes, there is no other, and you were supposed to meditate on the phrase there is no other, and try to get as much treasure from that. What are the pearls of wisdom from that? And basically the answer, so to speak, for that is when you stop looking at other people like they're
as others. Yeah.
And you start seeing them as part of you.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it changes everything.
Now, I'm not an avid Buddhist, but I do practice, Buddhist principles. Mm-hmm. You know, I believe in that. And I was raised Catholic, and, you know, but I claim that I'll claim that I'm a Buddhist.
Okay.
And, you know, I haven't done as much reading as I can about it, but I do have the books. One of the abbots, one of the head monks at Wat Yarna Rangsi in Stirling, actually gave me a book on Buddhism. And it was funny because I went there. It was when I went there to get blessed for my fight, and I went to go visit these monks, and I gave my offering, and he did his chants, and he prayed for me, prayed for strength. He even is this old the abbot at Wat Yana Rangsi is this older gentleman. He looks like he's between like 70 and 150. Like he just older dude, and he held his hand out while he was chanting, and he wanted me to hold his hand. So I grabbed his hand, and he started squeezing the shit out of my hand. And I was like, oh my God. So I started squeezing back, and the whole time he was just locked on me. Like he was just, and Carlos explained it to me later. Like, he was like, oh, he's trying to transfer his energy and his spirit into you when he's doing that, because he was praying the whole time he was doing it. And I was like, that was dope.
Wow.
And it was a powerful experience, and it was just cool to have this guy, this old man, this abbot, just like wanting that for me, like wanting to give me that, wanting to
some of his spirit,
some of his spirit, being a positive influence. I thought that was just amazing.
Gives a whole other thing to the whole connection thing. He's really trying to make a connection with you.
Yeah, and it was just thank you very much, Darius. And it was just the craziest experience. And like every time our fighters fight, and whenever we can, we try to make it out to the temple, and give our offerings and ask for blessings and for protection and stuff like that. But that's another part of what separates us from what I think has a tendency to set us aside from other schools, is that with us, we do value the tradition. We value the tradition that the sport looks for. And whether you're an MMA fighter, a BJJ fighter, judo fighter, whatever it is, you have your art is always rooted in traditions, and it's always a good idea to respect those traditions, because if nothing else, it teaches you respect, right? The ability to be able to, go beyond what you think, and just be able to do something that out of respect for something else,
right?
Something
outside of you. Which is, again, the problem that's the problem that creates the depression and the anxiety, is that you're so locked into yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, get outside of yourself, you won't experience that anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree.
I need to go ahead and say a couple of things to anybody who's watching this right now. I need you guys seriously to go check. First of all, you don't have.
I don't have socials like that where I'm like trying to, put myself out there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't have the website. You don't have all that stuff yet. But he will. Don't worry. We're going to talk about that.
You guys want to be Facebook friends? I'm happy to be Facebook friends with any of you guys. Hey, my brother-in-law's on. What's up, Paul?
Paul.
My brother-in-law's name is Paul as well, so it makes it very confusing.
That's not confusing at all. So I need you, first of all, go and check out, where Paul does his training and imparts wisdom like this. If you want a piece of Paul, go out to Disciple MMA Academy. That's a disciplemmaaacademy.com. Go check them out. Hit up Paul. Is that okay? People Absolutely. Hit you up. Hit him Absolutely. Up on Facebook. It's Paul Sitcharing. That's SITCHARING.
Very good.
And I see a lot of amazing things about to happen coming out of you, and then also for you. We're going to talk, obviously, but yeah, I'm excited to have you on again and kind of see where we go with the show and all that. If you guys like the show, if you're a viewer, please do the right thing at this point, which is help support the show.
And subscribe. Like and subscribe,
please, and share the show too. If this is something that you feel like needs to be out there in the ether, out in the atmosphere, make sure you share. It's so easy to share. You push the little button and you go post. Done. So please share this show with as many people as you can inside your circles. There's a couple of ways financially where you can help the show. Obviously, go to righteousangerpodcast.com. Go at the bottom of the page and try out some On It. Click on the link. Go and try out some of these supplement products that I like to use. EpilogueShirts.com. You can go there and get some swag like the shirt I'm wearing. I love Samuel L. Jackson.
Awesome.
English, mother lover, do you speak it? So if you want some cool movie shirts or, shirts that kind of are fun to wear and comfortable too, I might add, go there, use the coupon code RAP10, that's RAP10 in the coupon box, get 10% off your entire order. And, finally just keep watching. The thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to bring guys like Paul on, people like Paul, I should say, who, they're going to make your life better. Just by hearing them, knowing them, kind of seeing that this exists in the world, it's not so bad. Paul, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Just one last thing, since I didn't see him show up on the podcast.
Chase Walden.
Crew Chase Walden. I know I didn't make it out to your grand opening of Grindstone Athletics down in Virginia Beach, but I wanted to make sure that I plugged them. If anybody in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area sees this, please make sure you check out Crew Chase's school. Amazing instructor, just, tons of knowledge, great guy. And I'm deeply sorry that I didn't make it out to your grand opening, but I had a family event going on that same day, so unfortunately I wasn't able to make it out. But I do promise I will be down there to train with you. I promise, especially in the summer when I want to take a quick weekend beach trip. I'm coming down to see you. We'll hang out. We can crack pads, and I'll go to the beach and hang out, have a great time.
That'd be good. Chase was on the show.
Yes. I watched that one too. Yeah,
Chase is he's a good guy to have on the show. Very entertaining, fun guy, and actually it'd be cool to have you both on the same time because you both do the holding pads thing. You guys both have your training mentalities. It'd be cool to have you both on.
Oh, that would be awesome. I would love to do that.
Cool. So Chase, when you watch this, make sure, man, we're gonna set something up, man. Hopefully next month or so, maybe you can come back up here in Northern Virginia, and we can have a show. Back up here. Well, just come on for a day. We'll treat you nice. Don't worry. Trip. All right. Thank you so much, Paul.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Peace out, everybody.
All right, guys.